Blog Talk Radio.
How do we know this is Babylon? Psalms 137. I'm going to read it. This place was known for the slaves, slave ships, boats. The children of Israel were singing songs and being whipped and beaten in this particular land. So, let me read. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. Yeah. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. Willows are willow trees. Where do willow trees grow? Here in America, in the South. They didn't even grow in ancient Babylon. The willow tree's name in the Latin is the Babylonians. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. So when we were whipped and beat, we used to go under the willow trees and cry during slavery. Third verse. For there they that carried us away, captive, required of us a song. So this is talking about by the rivers of Babylon now. They required of us a song. That's where you get your Negro spirituals at. Okay? When the captives were enslaved during the time of slavery, they wasn't singing about Africa. The slaves were singing about Zion. Over the river Jordan, let my people go. These people knew that they were the children of Israel. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. That's Negro spirituals. 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? What strange land? By the rivers of Babylon. Yes, they named it America, but the Most High called this land an extension of Babylon. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? It reads in the 4th verse. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief's joy. So David said, listen, he would rather not even know anything to forget the ease of Israel. He told the Most High, please never let me forget that we're Israel, that I'm from Zion. And our people don't even care. The 7th verse. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Edom is a pure blood Caucasian who was behind bringing us here to Babylon to serve. You will never find the word America in the Bible, but you know America is written because it's the most evil and wicked empire in all existence. So you mean to tell me the Most High wrote about Egypt, Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, and all the evils placed in the earth, but forgot America? America is Babylon the Great. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly be burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. The Most High put His Spirit on these other countries to take her out through war. And all the other nations know it. The government know it. The bank systems, they realize it. They know prophecy. So what they're doing, they're mobilizing to move their money into the other countries over in Europe and Africa and all these other places you see Barack Obama going. He's been to Ghana twice already, knowing that this place is about to go. The 9th verse. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So while they're teaching you prosperity, that everything is going to be all right, that you're going to be floating up into a cloud, which is nowhere in the scriptures before Christ come back. While they're teaching you all this madness in these philosophical schools they call churches, the Most High's prophecies are coming to pass. They're coming to pass before our eyes. You can see it, and you know it's going to happen. But Satan have what you would call a spell on the people through religion. So the Most High have awakened his elect in the last days to warn the people. Zechariah, the 2nd chapter in your Bible, the 5th verse. For I saith, the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho. Come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. We didn't say this, the Lord said this. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. So is this ancient Babylon? No. This is the modern day daughter of ancient Babylon. And we're in the north. The Most High say we must flee her before the destruction comes. If we don't flee her, we'll get the plagues that are coming. In Revelation 18, where it says she shall be utterly burned with fire. The 8th verse. Okay? There's more, but if you want to know more, you can always go to our website.
Shabbat Shalom wa Barakatham. You are now tuned into another episode of Friday Night Sabbath, coming out of Babylon, here on Blog Talk Radio for the Gathering of Christ Church. I'm your host, Brother Ramar Karab, and with me is Brother Yawanathan. I hope everybody had a blessed week, and we'll have a blessed Sabbath as well. We have another interesting and great show for you tonight, a lot of information to bring out. We first want to give all praises to the Most High, Ahaya, in the name of His Son, Christ Yeshua. And before we get started with the show, we want to go ahead and get the Hebrew Credo for the Sabbath, along with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brother Yawanathan so we can get that.
Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Peaceful Sabbath to everyone. We're going to get into the Hebrew Credo as well as the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. To all the sisters out there, please make sure that your heads are covered. And all the brothers out there, please make sure that your head is uncovered. Now the Hebrew Credo. Shema Yasha'Allah, Ahaya, Allahaya Namu, Ahaya Akkad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
And now with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemaya, Kadash Haya Shemka, Ahaya Malakaka, Aba'a Ratizawaka, Haya Asha Ba'a Ratizah, Kawahaya, Mashemaya, Nathanawa, Nakam Tayawam Wastalaknawa, Kuwawaknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kuwawaknawa, Bala'a Aba'anawa. Sanasanya one about Hawashanawa, Mara Kayawaka, Hamalakwa, Waha Allah, Waha Fatahar, Iwalonda, Aman. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory. Forever, so be it.
Alman.
Hiya, Ashum, Shaya, Lord, Amen. Little baby, inside my body. I'm wishing you won't be
CGO-double-C. Ariaga bar. Sorry, I am not a star. Just a humble servant of the Most High, baby. What's up, recall a lot? Cortese? What you gon' do when the Most High call you out the whirlwind? Far away from the hurled ones. What you gon' do? Fall like the Nephilim, worship and sell your soul just to fall like the rest of them. Life's not promised tomorrow, so make a choice. Don't be like Adam Eve, deceived from Satan's voice. The elite plot, Barack Obama nation. Illuminati hand, pick to slaughter our nation. The 12 tribes, baby, 1-4-4 down. Gun go power, army kill one more child. I was trying to flee this place and prepare for the inflation. Use your voice in the music, cause the Jewish make your way. That's it. Ride for your dogs, die for the cause. Sex, money, fly, bras, cars. Your mind behind boys and slaves. Sharpen my blade for my rhymes behind boys in this page. Get out the maze days, cage away. And they go, Illuminati. They gon' put y'all boys to sleep. Barack Obama, he gon' put y'all call Malak, what they was thinking. Them lost sheep is awakened. Not peace for the swaddle-nosed nation. We the Jews, why you lie to us, Satan? Cause you have a short time in this wasting. Sacrificing children while y'all celebrating pagan. Beware of Jezebel manipulation. They cast spells, drunk of wine, minds wasting. Setting demon traps in religions for generations. Yeah, they finna put y'all boys to sleep. Time to repent to our high, get the mark of the beast. Come out of here, my people. Instruction from the Father, destruction and the slaughter. Corruption got involved. What you waiting on? The clouds to come pick you up? Come on. Don't wanna sit around mountain while it's getting rough. The kingdom of heaven don't come by observation. Act out of faith, escape from the hibernation or hush. Already got your boys asleep. Hey, MBT, then had your boys asleep.
You can have perfect vision and still be blind as a bat. You can say you're saved and have sin dance on your lap. And if you haven't heard, the wages of sin is death, but the bosom of Abraham is where the righteous rest. And when they awake, beware of the volley of dry bones, destroying all satanic government sky drones. So choose sides quickly, y'all can be wise. Rely on spirit, return to the Most High. He's the one that gives the final decree. So don't be blinded by what you see on TV. Listening to Creflo, Jakes, and Ed D, telling you to wait for Christ and don't flee. But then again, you know what? That's what you wanna hear. A lawless doctrine all in the devil's lair. They be like, man, we ain't gotta go nowhere, ain't no rush. But when these prophecies come to pass, sit back and just hush.
All these religions, man, they got y'all boys asleep. And what else? Let me think. Oh yeah, our children. The Disney Channel, man, they got our kids asleep. I ain't forgot about you, Bush and Carrie. Yeah, Skull and Bones, man, they got y'all boys asleep. Oh, and our people. Yeah. Designer clothing, man, they got our people asleep.
Little baby, the faith is snug inside my body. I'm wishing you won't be gone.
So what's the meaning of a future? We don't start building today. Marvin Gaye used to say, save the children. And Malcolm X used to say, by any means necessary. Amen.
Seems to be the world's most wondered about. Where did we go when we died? Is this the plane that help us decide? Is it all a lie? Cause religion causes division, affect the way we live in. Is it all part of the system? I bet it is. While TV is raising the kids, now they program like robots. But WW died. The evil one had a plan to get them.
And now that he got them, we gotta snatch them back for their souls are rotten. Have we forgot that our time is limited? You can be gone tomorrow with no trace of evidence. Living for dead presidents instead of feeding our families. It shouldn't take war to bring us together, but unfortunately it does. Why black millionaires don't budge a bit, and the few who do shouldn't have to handle all of it. But hey, we can all bow down to pray, but ain't no way unless we make the way. Control our fate.
Imagine a world without war or greed. Imagine a world for justice and peace. Imagine if we all practice one faith called love. Imagine if we could swim in the fountain of truth. Imagine what's headed for our youth. Since we don't even see the need to try. No. Imagine if hate could stand still. World War III would probably pass us by.
Shabbat Shalom, we're back. And we're going to go ahead and get into some of the news for tonight. But before we do, let's go ahead and get a scripture real quick. We're going to get the scripture for the show, which is Matthew chapter 24, verse 20.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 20. And pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
All right, so we always get this scripture because we are in the Sabbath, and this is a time that we rest. This is a time that we keep holy and separate ourselves from the rest of the world. Also, this is a time that we gather and come together. So Christ was wanting the disciples to pray that if, destruction was to come, pray that it doesn't happen on the Sabbath day. Because if we're all gathered in the same place, it'd be a lot easier for the enemy to get us all at once than if we're maybe spread out and not all together. They can get everybody at one time. So, we always have to be watchful, praying and watching always as Christ commanded, even on the Sabbath day. So going into some prophecy and some things that are happening in the news. There was an article that came out on February 29th. It's off of RT.com. And it says here, Obama issues new guidelines for indefinite detention and torture. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article here. It says, President Obama issued a policy directive on Tuesday that was quickly portrayed as a resolve to his right to detain U.S. citizens without trial In reality, the plan is a carefully crafted PR move that doesn't strip his absolute power over Americans. The presidential policy directive released by the White House this week comes nearly 2 months to the day after U.S. President Barack Obama approved the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2012, a detrimental law to each and every American that has attracted criticism from all sides of the political system since passed. On December 31st, 2011, the President inked the legislation allowing for the indefinite detention of alleged terrorists and the confinement of those accused under the jurisdiction of the U.S. military without due process. In his latest offering from the Oval Office, though, Obama is insisting that the U.S. requires more wiggle room in how it goes about regulating the provision that puts suspects in the Pentagon's custody. All right, so basically, this is just a opportunity for Obama to get up and make a speech and try to defend the NDAA bill that was passed. Since there's so much criticism and so much speculation circulating this bill, he's basically trying to, say that it's not really saying what you think it says. It doesn't really mean that, but of course Obama has continuously lied before he got in office and since he's been in office. All right, so this is just a smoke screen to cover up the fact of what the NDAA bill actually stands for, which is anybody can be abducted or taken by the U.S. government without a trial, which is due process. They can do whatever they want to do to you. Nobody has to know anything. That's what the power of this bill has. And for those of you that don't know, do a search on it on the web. It was he inked it on December 31st while you were out. So most people were out celebrating New Year's Eve. Drunk and sleep. This is a time when the elite make their moves. They give you entertainment, distractions. And while you're distracted, they're behind the scenes looking at ways to take away your freedoms and your liberty. And at the end, take away your life. All right? So I'm not going to read all of that. I just wanted to put that out there. You can read more on RT's website. I'm going to go to the next news article here. But before I get to that, I know that the past couple of days there have been some devastating storms, tornadoes that have wreaked havoc across the Midwest. So for those of you that are in those areas, we pray for your safety and that, nothing bad has happened to you. And for those that are in that area, you and your families, we're keeping you in our prayers. I know that some people have lost their lives and also been hurt. All right, so the storms are starting early, but these tornadoes, as it's just now the beginning of March, and they're already, as soon as March starts, here come the tornadoes, which we know that they're, they have the ability to control with HARP and things like that. And at the end of the day, the Most High is bringing judgment to the earth. So if you're not on the right side of the fence, judgment will be knocking on your door. So it's time for everybody to get right and get in line with the Most High. Okay. Let me find the next article here. I'm looking for it. Bear with me here, family. All right, so to kind of go in line with the NDAA bill, you had another article that came out on RT's website on February 29th. It says, "Goodbye First Amendment. Trespass bill will make protest illegal." So I know Elder Zerai talked about this last night in the True Jew News, but I just wanted to bring it out again to kind of go in line with the NDAA bill that we're talking about tonight. Basically, let me read it here. It says, just when you thought the government couldn't ruin the First Amendment any further, the House of Representatives approved a bill on Monday that outlaws protest in instances where some government officials are nearby, whether or not you even know it. It says the U.S. House of Representatives voted 388 to 3 in favor of H.R. 347 late Monday, a bill which is being dubbed the Federal Restricted Buildings and Grounds Improvement Act of 2011. In the bill, Congress officially makes it illegal to trespass on the grounds of the White House, which on the surface seems not just harmless and unnecessary, but somewhat shocking that such a rule isn't already on the books. The wording in the bill, however, extends to allow the government to go after much more than tourists that transverse the wrought iron White House fence. Under the Act, the government is also given the power to bring charges against Americans engaged in political protest anywhere in the country. So just like that now, if you protest, you're a terrorist. That's basically what the wording in these laws has made out to be. So, where you see protesting going on in these other countries like Syria and whatnot, and countries in the past like Libya, is America's all for those people, all for those rebels and supporting them and giving them arms and backing up their cause. But now here in America, you don't have that right to protest. So they're backing and want to fully arm these terrorist groups, which they call rebels, in these foreign countries. But here in America, if you protest, you're the terrorist. So just that quick, you can see the contradictoriness in America in itself. Okay, you've been sold a lie. America is one big lie. Home of the brave, land of the free, is what the motto of America is. It was all a lie, because the same things that they're supporting in other countries, they'll tell you here in this country you can't do, and they'll pass laws to make sure you don't. So now, in conjunction with NDAA, it even broadens the scope to protesters. All right, you can read the rest of this article on RT's website. I'm not going to read it all there. So we're just getting that much closer to a complete and total police state. Martial law is knocking on the door, where you're not going to have any rights or any say so. You're just going to do what the B says, and that's it. And that's the days we're living in America. But, of course, your typical everyday American has no idea these things are going on. They're given plenty of things of entertainment value, plenty of TV shows, sports, movies, music concerts, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. Americans have enough things to keep their minds preoccupied than what the government is doing behind the scenes as far as passing these laws. And the typical American could care less, as long as I get to watch basketball and football and go to church on Sundays and have weekends off and work my 9 to 5, I'm good. Just don't come in my bubble. Don't come in my realm and disturb my flow. Well, your bubble is about to get busted real soon. And when the time comes for you to stand up and be mad and do something about it, it's going to be too late. Those of us that have eyes to see and ears to hear, we understand these things, and we're putting ourselves in position to escape the madness. One moment here. I'm just calling in Brother Yawanathan. One moment. All right, so continuing from there, I want to go into the first part of our show and break some information down on how close we are. Just with that little bit of news I shared. Of course, you got what's going on in Syria and Iran. You know, Greece on the brink of default and economic collapse, and other European countries. You know, you have that. That should be the writing on the wall. But we're finna go into some deeper level knowledge and understanding on how close we are to this thing happening, and what the so-called, you know, the rulers of this earth, which a lot of people are familiar with the term Illuminati, which are basically the secret societies behind the scenes, the elite, the people that you don't see, you know, the Brotherhood, Masons, you know, Freemasons, and the, you know, whatever group you want to call them, that run the world, that own the banks and these corporations, is that they're straight Satanists. They worship Satan. He is their God, and they're heavy into the occult. In past shows, we have gone through numerology and how the occult revere numerology and their magic and their witchcraft and their sorcery and their ceremonies, and we're going to go into some understanding on that tonight. First thing I want to do is talk about the Oscars, or the Academy Awards. You have a trophy that is long sought after by those that are in the music or the movies industry. And this award is called an Oscar. So once a year, the Academy Awards take place for this gold idol. For those of you that are listening online, you can see a picture of this idol. All right, it's a gold idol. Next to the idol, you're going to see an Egyptian god doing the exact same pose as this idol, and this is where they got the whole origin of this Oscar from. So we're going to go into some understanding on what this represents. The name of this Egyptian god is Ptah, and I'm going to read some information here off of Wikipedia.com. It says, in ancient Egyptian religion, Ptah was the defecation of the primordial mound in the Ennead cosmogony, which was more literally referred to as Tatinen, meaning risen land, or meaning submerged land. Though Tatinen was a god in his own right before being assimilated with Ptah. Ptah also was referred to as the noble Djed. It was said in the Shabaka stone that it was Ptah who called the world into being, having dreamt creation in his heart and speaking it, his name meaning opener, in the sense of opener of the mouth. Indeed, the opening of the mouth ceremony performed by priests at funerals to release souls from their corpses was said to have been created by Ptah. Atum was said to have been created by Ptah to rule over the creation, sitting upon the primordial mound. So basically, for those of us that understand creation, and that the Creator, whose name is Ahaya, created of all earth, you see Ptah in Egyptian religion, he's worshipped as the Creator. And those who understand Christ, which is the son of the Creator, we see here Atum was said to be created by Ptah to rule over the creation. So the same way that the Most High created his son, whom the world calls Jesus Christ, to rule over the earth, is the same. You see the same similarity with what the Egyptians worshipped. Reading on here, it says, in art, he is portrayed as a bearded, mummified man, often wearing a skull cap, with his hands holding an ankh, waz, and djed, the symbols of life, power, and stability, respectively. So this Egyptian god has a skull cap on. All right? And when you look at the Oscar and you see that his head is smooth and rounded, you don't see any hair. You see a instant similarity between the two gods, between the idol, which is the Oscar, and Ptah. Also, you see in Ptah's hand in the picture, you see an ankh, a waz, and a djed. So you see him holding on to this ankh. In the same way you see the Oscar with his hands clasped in the same motion. He just doesn't have the stick in his hand or the staff in his hand. Also, if you look at the Oscar, if you were to look at him, you would say, okay, he's taking on a European or a Caucasian look. So they even try to mask it after themselves to look like them, to even draw you away more. But the similarity and what you can see within these two idols are the same, the one and the same. Okay, reading on, it says, it was also considered that Ptah manifested himself in the Apis bull. So now here we're talking about the bull. This is the same bull that the children of Israel were worshiping coming out of Egypt, ancient Egypt. So they understood and were worshiping this god in Egypt and took it out and were worshiping it as the creator. It says he may have originally been a fertility god because of this. Since Ptah was the primordial mound and had called creation into being, he was considered the god of craftsmen, and in particular, stone-based crafts. Eventually, due to the connection of these things to tombs, and that at Thebes, the craftsmen regarded him so highly as to say that he controlled their destiny. Consequently, first among the craftsmen, then the population as a whole, Ptah also became a god of regeneration. Since Sekur was also god of craftsmen and of regeneration of the sun during the night, Sekur was later assimilated with Ptah, becoming Ptah Sekur. Consequently, Ptah Sekur became considered an underworld deity, and eventually by the Middle Kingdom became assimilated by Osiris, the lord of the underworld, occasionally being known as Ptah Sekur Osiris. So I hope you can, okay, there's more. Let me get this last part here, because this is something I'm going to bring out later in the show. The English name Egypt derives from an ancient Egyptian name for Memphis, Haikuta, which means home of the soul of Ptah. This entered ancient Greek as Ioguptus, which entered Latin as Egyptus, which developed into English as Egypt. So I hope by now you can start to connect the dots as to why this guy is worshipped by the elite in the so-called highest level of award that you can receive in the movie or entertainment industry is the Oscar, because in their eyes, he's the creator, the first amongst the craftsmen, the God of regeneration, and that he controlled their destiny. So for a lot of these so-called stars, they look at this as their destiny and why they've got the success that they've gotten. Notice how whenever you go to Hollywood Boulevard, you see all the stars lined up. And to kind of tie into this whole Ptah and Academy Awards, you had the actual train wreck that happened last week in Argentina that we talked about, killed 49 people. We'll be talking about that later as well. Then you also had this week another one happen, another train wreck happened in Canada with more people dying. And when you go from Argentina to Canada over to LA, where the Academy Awards are held, it forms a perfect triangle. Well, not so much a perfect triangle, but it constructs a triangle and a pyramid, because during this time period, the stars have aligned in the sky. There was a certain alignment of the moon and Venus and another star. And in the same manner that everything was lined up in the sky, you had the same, if you look on the map of a world map, when you look at Argentina to Canada to LA, the exact same formation is seen on the earth. So with the elite and the Illuminati and the occult, there is a saying, as above, so below. So whatever you have above, they want to duplicate it below on earth. The Most High has a similar understanding that as on earth, that whatever be done on earth, have it be done as it is in heaven. So it's almost the exact opposite with how they look at it. And on the evil side. Now, these particular train wrecks were blood sacrifices. So as the stars were aligned in the sky, they aligned a blood sacrifice in the earth to align on the earth as the stars aligned in Hollywood for the Academy Awards, the so-called stars, your entertainers. All right. So moving on from that, I want to go into a scripture before we go into the next section of the occult numerology. Let's go to the book of Revelations. Revelations chapter 11 and read verse 8.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, this great city being America, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. So I want to focus on the Egypt part for right now. And to understand is that America has patterned and postured itself after Egypt. The elite, they have the understanding that their bloodline goes back to ancient Egypt. And it's funny because you have our people that will try to hold on to Egyptology and all of this Kemet and Nuwabic madness and say that they're from Egypt as well. So the elite worship all the gods of Egypt. That's why you see so much similarity between Egypt of ancient and America. That's the reason why you see this god Ptah as posing as now they've kind of cleaned him up a little bit and called him an Oscar. Also, it says it's spiritually called Sodom, understanding how homosexuality is on the rise in America. You have now, within the past month, 2 states, Washington State and Maryland, which have passed homosexual laws, making it to the point to where now, if you want to be homosexual and get married, hey, in those states, it's fine and dandy. So homosexualism is on the rise in America. As if it wasn't bad enough, now more states to the mix. I believe that's either like 8 down to 10 states now. So it seems like every week, every month, you have a new state being added for homosexual marriage, same-sex marriage. All right, so moving on, in past shows, we've talked about occult numerology. For those that can remember, if you think back to the times of, let's say, 11/11/11, and we were talking about the numerology and what the numbers mean and all of that. Well, we want to go back into that and bring that out, and we're going to also go back to that date, and we're also going to talk about now, between that time and now, the things that have happened, are happening, and what might happen. Some things are going to happen. It's just not so much of if, but when. So I want to read here, and if you want to know anything about the occult or numerology, all you have to do is do a search, type in the words occult numerology, Masonic numerology, and it's all out there. So I'm going to read here. It says from an article or a website that I actually came across. It says the followers of Pythagoras referred to every object, planet, man, idea, and essence to some number or other, in a way which to most moderns must seem curious and mystical in the highest degree. The numerals of Pythagoras, says Porphyry, who lived about 300 AD, were hieroglyphic symbols by means whereof he explained all ideas concerning the nature of things, and the same numeric method, if explaining the secrets of nature, is once again being insisted upon in the new revelation, the secret doctrine. That was by H.P. Blavatsky. Okay, we're going to read another excerpt here from William Wynne Westcott in his book, The Occult Power of Numbers. And this is on page 15. It says, numbers are a key to the ancient views of cosmogony. Okay, we just read about cosmogony in Ptah. Same thing. It says numbers are key to the ancient views of cosmogony, in its broad sense, spiritually as well as physically considered, to the evolution of the present human race. All systems of religious mysticism are based upon numbers. The sacredest of numbers begins with the great first cause, the one, and ends only with the naught or zero, symbol of the infinite and boundless universe. Okay. So, reading on, it says, occultists worship numbers. They believe that numbers have inherent power and everything in the universe can be explained mathematically. Numbers are seen as the key of life, and every letter of the alphabet is merely a symbol of a corresponding number. Our digitized world is the fulfillment of the Kabbalist's utopia, where every thought and action can be assigned to numbers. You cannot buy or sell unless you have a social security number. A popular saying is, you are just a number. The digital paradise decreases our humanity by reducing humans to digits and paves the way for the perfected man, the socially engineered Marxist man machine. So reading on here, it says, watch for NWO engineered events, terrorist attacks, serial killings, special events, assassinations, etc. They will have some of these numerical associations. They are 3, 7, 9, 21, 33, 39, 93, and 666. The master magic numbers of 11 and 13, the multiples of 7, 11, and 13, and inverted numbers like 31 and 93. So let's talk about the first number here. We have the number 3. 3 is the first sacred number. It is a perfect number representing the pagan trinity. It geometrically represents the triangle, the pyramid, and spirituality, the third eye, and spiritually the third eye. Sacred numbers are intensified when grouped. 33 is a very powerful number to occultists. There are 33 degrees in Freemasonry, which symbolizes the Kundalini, or serpent force, which is directed up the 33 sections of the vertebrae to achieve illumination. 0.666 is achieved when 3 groups of 3 are added together. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 666. Number 5. 5 represents female energy. I hope you brothers and sisters are listening and writing this information down, or having this information available to search, because this information is astounding. There are 5 days in the woman's fertility cycle. 5 is represented geometrically as the pentagram, Isis, divine proportion. So I want you to keep in mind this number 5, because later, as we're reading down here, we're going to get into it and how it represents female energy and Isis. All right, number 6. 6 represents male energy, the soul of man and the macrocosm of God. 6 is represented geometrically as the hexagram. The hexagram. You know, the 6-pointed star of Moloch, which is on your Israeli flag, makes up your hexagram. Witches cast spells, they put a hex on you. I also understand that the Most High, the Creator, created man on the 6th day, so man represents 6. So when you see 666, what you're basically seeing is man, 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 or man over God, or man becoming God. That's what the New Age agenda and the New Age religion and movement is all about. Okay, the next number, number 7. 7 is a sacred number and the number of perfected man. No such thing, but it sounds appealing. The biblical number of the mark of Cain. Multiplication of 7, perfected 3 times 7 equals 21. Blackjack, the devil. Also understand that the Most High rested on the 7th day. His work was perfected, and he rested and sanctified the 7th day as the Sabbath for eternity. So 7 biblically means perfection. Number 9. 9 is a sacred number and the cube of 3. 999 is 666 inverted. Remember back when Herman Cain, the Republican presidential nominee early in the race, he came out with his 999 plan? He was letting you know about the mark of the beast for those that have wisdom, that these are things how they communicate. For those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, you can see these things and understand as well. Also remember 9/11 happened on the 9th month of the year. Now let's get into the number 11. 11 is a master number. 10 is the perfect number, God, and 11 represents God being exceeded. 11 should not be broken down, as it is a master vibration. However, when broken down, 1 plus 1 equals 2. It represents the 2 of duality. 11 can represent sin, transgression, and peril. The number 11 is the essence of all that is sinful, harmful, and imperfect. And again, that comes from W. Westcott, The Occult Power of Numbers. 11 is the combination of the pentagram, which is 5, and the hexagram, which is 6, the male and female, the union of opposites. So in America, you have the pentagon, which is the inside of the pentagram. And then you have in Israel the star of Moloch, which the hexagram is inside the 6-pointed star. So both of these stars and these hexagram and pentagrams are satanic symbols, and they use these for energy and power and for their ritual magic and ceremonies. Number 13. 13 is a sacred number. 13 represents death and rebirth. 13 can also represent rebellion against God's authority. 13 is a very important number to the brotherhood and was not intended to be used by the profane. Hence the superstitions surrounding 13 they are taught. It's our number. It's not for you goyim. That's a Jewish quote. Number 33, a magical number. The perfect 3 multiplied by the master 11. The next number, also 33, is the degrees it takes to reach the top of masonry. Also understanding from a biblical standpoint that Christ was 33 when he died in the earth. Number 39. The perfect 3 multiplied by the sacred 13. 39 is an anagram for 93. The literal number of magic itself. Aleister Crowley. You don't know who Aleister Crowley is? Look him up. Top sorcerer. Master Mason. Totally satanic and demonic Satanist. And he's looked at today as the, one of the top wizards of the modern era. As you see people like Jay-Z wearing shirts that says, "Do as thou wilt. This shall be the whole of the law." Basically saying the law's done away with, do whatever you want to do. And this does not sound like Satan telling Eve in the garden, eat of this tree, and ye shall be as gods, knowing both good and evil. Do what you want to do. God won't kill you. This is the same philosophy that the occult pushes on the masses and gets these puppets, your entertainers, to push on you. So they use these puppets, these entertainers, it trickles down, and then they push it on you, and you follow after these entertainers and worship these other gods. Number 77. The sacred 7 multiplied by the master 11. The number of the biblical revenge of Lamech. The children of Lamech are the alleged builders of the temples in Atlantis, and Lamech lived 777 years. Also going back to the number 39, something I forgot to bring out, and that 93 is an anagram for 39. I believe that the flight for that happened on 9/11, was it not Flight 93? Just off the top of my head, if anybody has that, confirm that, or if I'm right or wrong on that flight. Multiples of numbers amplify and strengthen the ritual and its desired effect. Let me read that again. Multiples of numbers amplify and strengthen the ritual and its desired effect. Occultists add numbers individually, except 11 always stays 11. Every letter of the alphabet represents a corresponding number. In the Pythagorean table, A is 1, B is 2, and C is 3, and so on. All right. So, okay, so was correct on that, Brother Yawanathan got it. It was Delta Flight 93. All right. Aleister Crowley said this is a literal number of magic itself. This is the so-called mysterious plane that disappeared and it was shot down in the middle of nowhere. The terrorists had hijacked the fourth plane. We're going to get, there's more numbers here. This is just one part of this, of the information I put together. So the number 4 is key also. So what I'm going to get into now is these are some of the topics we're going to talk about. The 12th British monarch celebrates her Diamond Jubilee. The 40-day prophecy of Dajjal and the 12th Imam. The 13 skulls portal ceremonies. The 111th Pope appoints 22 cardinals. And the 44th President visitation. So in the past week, we've talked about the Super Bowl performance. We actually went into great detail on that show, on the Super Bowl performance. So we're going to go back to that right now. The Super Bowl performance occurred exactly on the halfway point this year between winter solstice and the vernal equinox, which was February 5th, 2012. So you have the winter solstice on one hand, and then you got the vernal equinox, which is spring, on the other hand. Both of these represent how the stars are aligned in the sky, on how they determine when the winter solstice is and when the vernal equinox is. February 5th was the dead middle point of both of these two time periods. And the Super Bowl performance occurred on this day. M block marks the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So M block, for those that don't know, it was a pagan ritual. It's a pagan ritual. It's still carried on today. And it's normally from February 1st through the 2nd, but also can be done on the 12th. February 12th, but it also marks the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. The spring equinox marks the time when there is equal daylight and darkness. All right? The struggle between light and darkness. Those who worship divine feminine believe there are certain earth cycles which open a gateway between the higher planes of existence and the earth plane on en bloc. Let's go back to 11-11-11, the gateway opening with the 13 crystal skulls. Again, we did a show on this date, which was a Friday night, 11-11-11. And we're going to go back to the 13 crystal skulls. These are Mayan skulls that are said to have come from aliens. Crystal skulls. And they also even have a movie, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skulls. So they put this stuff in Hollywood. They put it right in your face. Most people can't see it or understand what it means. So we're giving you wisdom tonight to see behind the scenes of what these things actually mean. The portal opening ceremonies ended Sunday, November 13th, 2011. So that's when they ended their ceremonies. Keep in mind, Sunday, which is the day of the sun. You have November, which is the 11th month. And you have the number 13, the 13th day. Okay? Between November and 11th and February 11th marks Whitney Houston's death of 13 weeks from the 13 ceremonies. So from November the 11th, which is 11-11-11, until February 11th to 11, there were 13 weeks in between, exactly. All right, let's move on here. Let's get some more understanding on these numbers. It says the numbers of the serpent occult religion. The most venerated occult numbers are 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, and multiples thereof, especially 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, etc. A triplication of numbers is also considered sacred, possibly even more sacred to the occultist. 111, which we just are tying in about the 111th Pope, and he assigned 22 cardinals. You also have the number 222, you have 333, and so forth. The number 5 is the number of death. Also, an extremely sacred number is the double 11, as in 11-11 or 11-11-11. Also, remember the number 5 is a female number. So now let's continue. November the 7th, 2011 was the 13 Crystal Skulls Sedona Portal Ceremony at powerful ley line points. 13 weeks from this point, or actually 13 weeks from the February 5th Super Bowl ceremony, was the eve of Queen Elizabeth's Diamond Jubilee. So you had 13 weeks between November 7th to February 5th. And we also understand that the 5 represents the female cycle and female worship, Isis. And this was the eve of Queen Elizabeth's Diamond Jubilee, or 60th anniversary of her coronation. Again, we see the number 6 and 60th. And her coronation was on The 60th anniversary was on February the 6th, 1952. So here we see the 6th again. February 5th was the date so-called Prince William began a 6-week tour of duty to the Falklands for military drills. 2012 is the 30th anniversary of the Falklands War. Now, we read about this last week. It says, after the Argentina Prime Minister registers a formal complaint with the UN of British intrusion in the Falklands, a devastating train crash takes the lives of 49 in the capital of Argentina. 49 is 4 plus 9, which equals 13. So again, you see everything lining up perfectly. The numbers all line up. The blood sacrifices line up with the numbers. One day after the Jubilee was the 200th anniversary of the third and final great earthquake of the New Madrid in February 7th, 1812. So I know in the past, and those that understand, we've always talked about the New Madrid fault line and this fault line being very active, and how when the next earthquake hits, when it hits in America, it's going to happen there. Understand that February 7th, 1812 is when the last great earthquake happened. That was 200 years ago. Now it's 2012, and we just passed February the 7th. So we're in the year of that anniversary. Okay? Now, earlier I talked about the train crash that happened in Argentina, and the one in Canada, and the Academy Awards. And when you look at it, it formed a triangle on the map. When you take the same American map and you start at the World Trade Center in New York, when 9/11 happened, you started at a point there. Understand you also had the Waco siege and massacre on 4/19/1993. All right. This Waco siege began February 28, 1993, just 2 days after the first World Trade Center bombing. Okay, so when you take and you look on a map, and I was watching a video, it's easier to see when you're looking at it from a picture, but when you start at the top of New York and you take all of the recent major disasters that have happened in America, 9/11, you have New York, you have Washington, D.C., you have what happened in the Gulf with the BP oil disaster, and you have what happened in Oklahoma City. It forms a triangle. All right? Now, when you start at the Waco massacre location, when you start in Waco and you run that line from Waco up to New York, it runs smack dab through the middle of Memphis, Tennessee. And we just read about Ptah, so we know that Memphis was once the capital of ancient Egypt. So Memphis lies right smack dab on the New Madrid fault line. It's the center of the pyramid, the all-seeing eye point. So it's safe to say that Memphis will be a desolation when this earthquake happens, and we're going to read about this earthquake here in a moment. One moment here. So actually, let's go ahead and get those scriptures now before we continue. Let's go to Revelations chapter 16, because it's funny because you see all of these major earthquakes and disasters happening around America. You haven't really seen a big disaster happen. It's been happening everywhere else. You had, happened in Haiti, the earthquake. You had the earthquake happen in Chile. Had the earthquake happening in Japan, New Zealand, but not America. America hasn't really seen a major earthquake, but there is a major earthquake promised to America, and we're about to read it right now. Revelation 16, and let's start at verse 18.
Revelation chapter 16, verse 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightning, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great.
So Revelation 18 says there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great. This is future prophecy. This earthquake has not happened yet. Verse 19.
Verse 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
And the great city, this is that same great city we read in Revelation chapter 11, when it said that great city shall be called spiritual Sodom and Egypt. Well, the scripture also says this great city is also great Babylon. So this place is not only considered Sodom and Egypt, but it's also considered Babylon, spiritual and modern day Babylon. And it's going to be divided into 3 parts from this earthquake. And the cities of the nations fell. So I also put up a picture for those online listening, a future naval map. This is what the Navy predicts America will soon look like in the future. And if you look at the projection, you can see America looking like it's broken into 3 parts. You also see water where you see the Rocky Mountains, and you also see, look where Memphis is on the map. That whole area has become water. Also look where the BP oil spill started, right there in the Gulf. So by them digging in that actual, it's a gas bubble, it's a volcano right there, they basically have weakened that fault line, and it extends from the Gulf all the way up through Canada. Okay, read on.
Verse 20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found.
And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. So when you look in this Gulf, you don't see any islands here in this picture. Because why? Because when this earthquake happens, that all of that is going to collapse. Those islands, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Cuba, those islands won't be there. They're going to flee away, meaning they're going to be gone, covered by water. All of that's going to collapse. And you ask yourself, it says, and the mountains were not found. So the same place, which is Babylon, you're not going to be able to find the mountains. What mountains? The Rocky Mountains. Look there on the map and you see all the water. You don't see mountains there. You see water, letting you know that those mountains are going to collapse and go into the water as well. These are all major fault lines where this is happening at. You also see the coast of California, water. The coast of the east coast of America, water. So you have to ask yourself, how does this happen? Understand, the scripture says, there was a great earthquake, such as not since when men were upon the earth. So even as long as men has been on the earth, they have never seen an earthquake this big. Now, before man, when you had creation, you may have seen these earthquakes and things happening going on through the creation of the earth, but not since the beginning of men. Not even in Noah's time is there going to be an earthquake this big. Because understand, in Noah's time, the earth was one landmass. When the flood came, the earth broke up. Water came through the earth and split the land into to what we see the world today as these different continents. So this earthquake is going to be greater than that. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Now let's get some confirmation on this and get the precept. Let's go to the book of Isaiah and read more about these mountains and these islands and this water. Start at Isaiah 14. Let's start at 22 and read down to 23.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith the Most High of Hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Most High.
For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of Hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. There's not going to be nothing left in America when the judgment's final. But right now we're focusing on the earthquake, because when the earthquake happens, America will be a wounded country, but it will not be. The destruction will have just begun on America. It won't have been ended, because America gets burned with fire when it's all said and done. The same way Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, America's going to go out with fire. But these are the plagues and destruction that's promised to America soon. This isn't something that's going to happen a long time down the road. This can happen any day. And what you see, these dates, everything lining up, these numbers, everything's lining up to 2012. Read on.
Verse 23. I will also make it a possession for the bitter and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Most High of Hosts.
I will also make it a possession for the bittern, or the birds, and pools of water. So here's your water that you see on the map, and where the Rocky Mountains are, and where you once saw Memphis going all the way up from Louisiana, all of that land. Understand, this is just a projection map. This isn't what it's going to be. Look probably much worse than what they're. This is probably a rosy picture what they're painting here in this picture of America. This just gives you a somewhat of an idea, and we're bringing it out in the scriptures to confirm what they already know, because this is their plan, is to do this to America. The elite, Barack Obama, all the ones controlling him, your Jewish bankers, your corporations, all of those that know what time it is, and they worship the occult and Lucifer, Satan. This is their plan for America. It's been their plan for America from the very beginning. As their forefathers that sailed over here, this was their plan for the New World Order. So it's been handed down from generation to generation to generation. It's the same people in power in America and controlling America outside of America. The Most High, after this earthquake, is going to make it a possession of pools of water, and I will sweep it with the bosom of destruction, saith the Lord of Hosts. All right, so understand, this can happen anytime. This is not about if it's going to happen in America. It's about when it's going to happen. Now you can understand the scriptures more clearly when it says, Babylon has fallen and become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every detestable bird. In Isaiah 14 and 23, bittern means bird. All right, and the scripture also says in Revelation 18, come out of her, my people, so that you partake not in her sins or receive of her plagues. So this is a plague that's promised to America. So for people that's asking, what time it is, how much time do we have left, understand that the elite do everything according to numerology. and everything is lining up. All right. So let's go back to the information here. I just wanted to bring that out on the New Madrid fault line. One moment. Okay. Now, the 188-day cycle ends at the vernal equinox, which is March 22nd, 2012. So we understand that spring starts on March 22nd according to the new moon. That'll be the first new moon of the spring. Okay. The Merovingian royal bloodline traced their lineage to the pharaohs of Egypt. Understand that this bloodline, these are your bloodlines that are not only running America, but are running the world. So now you can understand why they worship Egypt. When you look at the back of the dollar bill and you ask yourself, what's a pyramid doing on the back of a dollar bill? They trace their lineage back to the pharaohs of Egypt. Okay? Now, February 18th was the date of Whitney Houston's funeral. So let's keep in mind February 18th. Upon the news of her death, Clive Davis was holding a party on a floor below, and her body was ordered not to be removed until the party was over. Her body lay in room 434 for 11 hours. Also, when you add 4 plus 3 plus 4, you get 11. Whitney Houston was born on the 9th, and she died on the 11th. So you have 9/11. Her hour of birth was 8, and her hour of death was 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. She was born on 8:55, and she died at 3:55. They made sure that these numbers coincided exactly. All right, to represent that 11. When you add 8 plus 5 plus 5, you get 18th. This was the day of Whitney Houston's funeral. Now you have Bridget. Understand that when Whitney Houston died, they say she died in a bathtub. Okay, we know a bathtub is symbolic for water. When you get in a bathtub, of course, you're taking a bath, there's water there. She died in a bathtub. Bridget is the goddess of childbirth. So the water and passing through the other side also represents childbirth. So through the water, basically what they're saying is Whitney Houston traveled through to the other side through the ceremony to Satan. Also knowing that the water, when you're a child, your birth, you're in water until you come out the womb. The woman's water breaks and the child comes out the womb. So this is also representing a birth. And we always look at these things from a spiritual side as far as the evil, the dark, and the light, which is the good. Understanding that the water is symbolic of us that are baptized in Christ, the baptism. Satan always mimics the Most High. And he has a way exact opposite that's similar, but for his wickedness. You have, now we're going to talk about Britain, the UK. You had a 360-year reign of the British Empire, which began between the years of 1585 to 1588, which is the 1500s. So during this 85 to 88 period, you had when the British Empire kind of was considered to have come into power. On 8/8/88, or August 8th, 1588, the British defeat the Spanish Armada and change the course of world history. So we have the numbers 8/8/88. James I is born in 1866, who will eventually unite the kingdoms of Scotland and England into the British monarchy. Going back to those bloodlines. And I sure hope that, I know we've tried to have Fritz Springmeier on the show for a long time. I sure hope he's on Sunday night, and that, I hope he's listening to this show, or who you brothers and sisters that are listening. If you haven't read the book, a lot of this stuff is in this book as far as these bloodlines and how all this ties together. So I hope this information gets brought out on the show. Somebody asked a question or whatnot. Okay, so now let's fast forward to modern history. Now, between the years of 1945 through 48, which would mark the 360-year reign of the British Empire, is when the USA undeniably culminates into the world superpower. This is the time when America dropped the atomic bomb, nuclear bombs, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So at that point, the U.S. is considered undeniably the world's superpower, the Great. Babylon, the Great. Babylon means tyrant. And America has been a tyrant on that level, dropping bombs on people ever since and starting these wars. Also, when you read Revelations, the 13th chapter, to confirm, talking about America, when it talks about that beast, verse 13 says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." This fire are these bombs being dropped out the sky on men. The British Empire was also a key proponent behind Zionist Israel becoming a state in 1948. Understand that it was Britain that was at war against Germany, fighting for the so-called Jews with America. So Britain helped birth the Zionist Israel state we see today. Now, mind you, the Olympics will be held in London, England this year. Now, when you take the 2012 logo for the Olympics, you can spell the word Zion when you take the 2, the 0, the 1, and the 2. The 2's representing the Z and the N, the 0 representing the O, and the 1 representing the I, and there's even a dot in the logo so that you can spell Zion, and you can web search that. Web search Zion 2012 image, and you're going to see how that logo has been well constructed to spell out Zion, letting you know that their plan is coming into fruition for the Zionists. All right. Now, on February 18th, Whitney Houston, her funeral, you had the 111th Pope named 22 new cardinals to the elite club that elects the successor of the 84-year-old pontiff. So remember, we said that the any number that's tripled. So you have 111th is even more sacred than a number that's doubled, like the number 11. So on Whitney Houston's funeral date, you had the 111th Pope named 22 new cardinals to the elite club. And you have now the 84-year-old Pope looking to pass soon and to have a new pontiff reign in his stead. All right? So now let's kind of tie some more things together. You had a rare tomb of a woman singer found in Egypt's Valleys of the Kings, remarkably dated to nearly 3,000 years old. This happened on January the 15th. And when they talked about this finding, they said that this woman was the Whitney Houston, or the Beyonce, or the Lady Gaga of her time. So here you have Whitney Houston coming into play. Mind you, that for the upcoming Grammys, it was supposed to be a tribute to Whitney Houston. This Egyptian singer lived during the 22nd dynasty, and you have 22 days between January the 15th and February the 6th, which was the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth. Okay? Understanding that when you take January 15th, you add the 1 and the 5 together, you get 6. Queen Elizabeth, and you can, in the bloodlines of the Illuminati, you'll understand is that she has a higher, she's revered higher than the Pope as far as on the bloodline scale. So now you can understand that all of these rituals are, being done to her. It's all occultic, ceremonial, numerology rituals. Also, don't forget the Super Bowl, the ritual Super Bowl ceremony of Madonna during these two events, the finding of the Egyptian sarcophagus and the Queen's Jubilee. So at the Grammys, you have Nicki Minaj show up, and on her dress, she has a woman on her red dress. She arrives with the Pope, or a man dressed up as the Pope. And the Versace line that she had on for her dress was called the Medusa line. So this woman is supposed to represent Medusa. But this woman also represents all of the women goddesses, Isis, Semiramis, the queen and the whore of Babylon. Also, this woman represents Whitney Houston. When you look at the picture of the dress, it's a almost exact look-alike of Whitney Houston with the way she used to wear her hair during the 80s, with the curly look, the locks, and the short cut. All right. So this was a ritual. These are rituals being performed to occult numerology and magic. All right. Now, also remember Nicki Minaj during the show, which was right after Whitney Houston had died. She performed a exorcism ritual for the homosexual little boy that's inside her named Roman. And she showed up with a Roman Catholic Pope. Okay? Now, during this exorcism, this ritual, it was the exact same symbology of what happened with Whitney Houston, where the body it's symbolic of Whitney Houston's body over the Kabbalists worshiping a covenant death. So you had Nicki Minaj raised up into the sky, levitating, and all the pagan priests, witches and warlocks were down below her, worshiping and dancing and partying, and flames were going up. It was the same thing that was happening when Whitney Houston was above the floor, that Clive Davis had the party beneath, and they left her up there for 11 hours partying. These are rituals. All right. Also understand that Whitney Houston's funeral was 11 days after the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Also, you had her funeral 33 days from the Egyptian tomb find. So when you look at the, if you go online on YouTube, you can see this. At Whitney Houston's funeral, they had 2 Egyptian sarcophaguses at her funeral home entrance for the family. Now, Whitney Houston was supposed to be a Baptist. This is a Baptist church. What are these Egyptian sarcophaguses doing at the funeral home? Mind you, it's even information that she may have even left the hotel in a sarcophagus, in an Egyptian sarcophagus, as these sarcophaguses were seen well before her funeral. So she may have even showed up in a sarcophagus, invoking the spirit of this tomb find. All right. Some more things to bring out on 2012. April 15th, 2012 commemorates the 100-year mark of the sinking of the Titanic. You also had, I believe it was this year or maybe the end of last year, the cruise ship that crashed, and the captain told the crew members to go back to the cabin. Everything was fine while they were getting on the boat and getting off. So you're seeing the symbology of what happened with the Titanic then, and you're seeing it the anniversary coming up now. And we always talk about, and when we talk about America and Babylon, we always like to say America represents that Titanic. And this is even speaking more volumes now with this occultic numerology, knowing that America is the Titanic and it will sink. And when you do your research on the Titanic, they specifically meant to sink the boat. It was destined to sink, the same way America is destined to sink and be destroyed by the elite. So right now, we're at the point to where you got the binoculars out. We're showing you there's an iceberg coming about 2 or 3 miles off the starboard bow. So you have a choice. Either you can get on these life rafts and get off the Titanic, or when it hits that iceberg, you're going to go down singing, shucking and jiving with the band. Right? If you haven't seen the movie Titanic, watch the movie. And that's on a low level compared to what's about to happen to America. Okay? Around the time of the 2012 Olympics, a 200-year anniversary of the War of 1812. June 18th is the date, between the 4th U.S. president and the 4th British monarch. So here you have the numbers 4 popping up. 4 and 4. This will be the 200th anniversary this year. Okay? Between America and Britain. Power is about to go back to the 10 horns, which is the European Union. America is about to be made naked and desolate by the EU. 4 days after the death of Whitney Houston, Obama, the 44th president, stays at the Beverly Hills Hilton, the same hotel that Whitney Houston died 4 days later. And he arrives at 4 p.m. So here you have the number 44. So the number 4 has numeric occultic meaning as well. So let's talk about the 4th month, April. On 4/19/1993, you had the Waco disaster. Also on April 19th, this time in 1995, you had the Oklahoma City bombing. Then on April the 20th, 2010, you had the BP oil disaster. So we can definitely say, based on that, and this being 2012, you can look for something major to go down in April around this time period. So what this could possibly even be bringing some understanding is you have Whitney Houston. She could be a clue just by her last name in itself that Houston could be en route for a false flag attack. I'm not saying it will be, but when you look at these disasters on a map, on a U.S. map, it perfectly makes in masonry a square and compass, and Houston lies right on that line. Makes a perfect square and compass. 2 triangles intermerge, which is the 6-pointed star, which is what you see on your masonry when they got the G and compass, the square and compass. Okay, let's get into some last bit of numerology here. I want to go to a scripture, because 1612, a lot of people tie that into the time when our people, those that are so-called African Americans, went into slavery. And a lot of people say, well, it's the 400-year mark. It's the 400-year prophecy. So I want to get that to show that has already been fulfilled. go to the book of Acts chapter 7. Just one moment, let me get it here. Acts chapter 7, and let's start at verse 6.
Acts chapter 7, verse 6. And the Most High spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years.
So, in the book of Acts, we see here, it's going into the 400 years that Israelites, Joseph went into Egypt as a slave. So this started the 400 years that our people would go into bondage, into a strange land. And a lot of people want to go into the book of Genesis and say that that's talking about America. No, that prophecy has been fulfilled already. But let's get another scripture. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, let's get chapter 1 and read verse 9 and 10.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. A thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of all time, which was before us.
So we know there's no new thing under the sun, and that we're seeing a lot of things repeat. We're seeing a Babylon in modern times the same way we saw in ancient Babylon, the same way we had in ancient Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, etc. We're seeing the same things being repeated in this modern day and time. So if you were to say, okay, well, that 400 years could be something that's being repeated, then we may be able to talk about that as a possibility, but we can't say that that prophecy was talking about now. But I do find it interesting that King James, who those that have done the research have the understanding that he was a black man from the tribe of Judah. He was a Negro. And King James' original Bible came out 1611. The year after that, 1612, started us being rounded up as slaves and shipped to the Americas. So is it by chance? Maybe the Most High is giving us some more understanding to show from his side the 400 years and showing that how it lines up to 2012 as a anniversary, or maybe the elite has done this to keep our people still, to think that they don't have to get up and get out of here. Okay, either way it goes, for me, when I look at it, it's confirmation based on everything else we've read as far as the numerology and what's happening in 2012. All right. Now I want to get some last information here on the 2012 numerology and finish up on this. It says the winter solstice in 2012 will occur 12/21/2012 and at 11:11 universal time. And also understand that the time 11:11 adds up to 22. So when you take the entire date, 12/21/2012, and you add all the numbers together, 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2, you get 11. So when you take that number and you take the time when it's supposed to happen, 11:11, what you're really getting is 11:11:11. What this means is that the date and time correlates with the triple power sacred number of 11:11:11. The number 11 correlates with the letter K, as in KKK, which is 11, 11, 11. And we know that the Ku Klux Klan was started by a Jewish man by the name of Pike, Albert Pike. He called for 3 world wars in his book Morals and Dogma, and he's revered as the father of Freemasonry. He has his own statue in Washington, D.C. So I hope you can kind of get some of the dots connected with that in itself. When you take all the 11s and you add them up, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, you get 6. When you add the 11 plus 11 plus 11, you get 33. Okay? Also, 6 plus 6 equals 12 for the 12th month. 3 times 7 equals 21 for the 21st day. So that would be 1221. Or if you take 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, you get 6, which adds up to 6, 6, 6 to the mix. The day of 21 is a multiple of 7 times 3. That signifies a time of complement. So when you take 2 plus 1 plus 2, that equals 5. Those are the numbers in 2012. That equals 5, which is the number of death. But not the end of the world, but the death of an old age into the new world order. So all the numbers of the occult are related to 2012. 3, 5, 6, 7, 11, 22, and 33, which all come to 11, 11, 11. Okay, so the day and month relate to 6 and to 666 covertly. The year relates to 5, which is death, and the time of the solstice relates to the power number of 11 doubled, or activation. And the day relates to 7, time of complement. And most importantly, the entire date adds to 11. That creates the triple 11, 11, 11, and adds to 33, which is the Illuminati Mason pyramid of the 33rd degree. Okay, so all the numbers of the occult are involved with the 2012 syndrome. But what is the meaning and the deception behind 2012? So let's talk about 1111. 1111 signifies the activation of a new beginning. Aquarius is associated with the astrological 11th house, the water bearer, a possibility of entering into the age of Aquarius. The current age of Pisces, the 2 fish possibly representing the battle between the darkness and the light of the last 2,000 years. The occult serpent religion views a death and new beginning as very important. And we see these rituals happening representing death and birth. With Whitney Houston and so forth. Throughout the centuries, the fertility worship of the spring equinox has held in place that dates all the way back to Sumer of 3500 BC. Considering this history, the death of an old age into a new age is extremely important. And this age will be the age of dominance of the New World Order and the rise of the occult agenda. So considering the occult numerology about 12/21/2012, 11/11, or more importantly 11/11/11, we can be assured that startling events will take place around this time. And we've already seen startling events taking place now with these rituals and all these things that are happening. With Whitney Houston, you got Don Cornelius die. You know, all of these black entertainers are dying. You'll see a white entertainer every now and then pop up dead, but mostly it's us dying. They're showing you something. We're in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, and all of this death is aimed primarily towards us, to take us out, and anybody that is for righteousness and truth. and followers, true followers of Christ. All right. Now, one last thing I wanted to get, and we talked about the Super Bowl and the score and the numerology of that, understanding that all sports is controlled by the Illuminati. It's nothing but pro wrestling and a stage play. You're sitting there cheering and watching, not understanding that it's all controlled. Who wins the game? Understand, sports is very numerical. You'll see why a player has a certain number of points in the game, certain number of shots taken or yards or whatever the stat is. They're trying to hit these numbers. The end result of the score, all of that. Now, you had the NBA lockout this year. We're talking about the NBA. We're talking about basketball right now. And they said it wasn't going to be a season. But then all of a sudden, they agreed just in time for the labor talks right before Christmas. And they said, you know what, let's start on Christmas Day. Let's start the season up on Christmas Day. Understanding that now because of the delayed season, there's going to be 66 games in the NBA season, the regular season. Also understanding that this is the 66th year of the NBA. So we see nothing but sixes. Let's take it a little further. Because see, when you understand this, then you can understand who's going to win the season. Let's talk about the Miami Heat. You had, the summer of last year or the year before? Yeah, the summer of the year before. You had LeBron James, whose number was 23. Okay? 2 times 3 is 6. 2 divided by 3 is 666. All right? If you want to know about LeBron James, type in LeBron James Illuminati in YouTube, and you can see him throwing up all type of Illuminati hand signs and all of that before the game starts, pyramids and everything. And you can see him with Jay-Z and all the people of the Illuminati hanging out. It was big controversy on what team is he going to go to. Okay? Now, before the season was over with, he gave an interview and said, after this season, I'm going to change my number to 6 because the number 23 is Michael Jordan's number. I don't think it's right for anybody to wear that number. Okay? So he's going to change his number to 6. Just so happens that he goes to Miami, and you also have, you have Chris Bosh, another so-called star. And now with Dwayne Wade being in Miami, you have the 3. Understand that the 3 is the first sacred number of the occult, numerology. So LeBron changes his number to 6, and also Chris Bosh changed his number to 1. Okay? Now let's take a look at the jersey numbers. Chris Bosh, 1. LeBron James, 6. And Dwayne Wade's number is 3. So when you take 6 times 3 times 1, you get 18. When you divide 18 by 3 for the 3 players, you get 6, 6, 6. Also, when they signed their deals 2 summers ago, all 3 signed 6-year contracts. You don't really see NBA players signing 6-year contracts. So 3 players signed 6-year contracts, 6, 6, 6. For the Miami Heat logo, you have a ball, a flaming ball going through a circle, going down like into the depths of hell. So just with that in itself of understanding, you can now pinpoint who is going to win the NBA Finals. All right? So understand that the Illuminati and the elite is putting right before your eyes the mark of the beast and the number of the beast, 666. It's all around you. They're giving you confirmation of what year we're in. This is the year of the mark of the beast. Obama Care, when it was signed in 2006, said within 36 months all U.S. citizens must have Obama Care. 36 months, 3 6s. understanding that that time period ends March 23rd of 2013. It says within that time. So that means any time from that point he signed the bill up until March 23rd, 2012. Again, you take 2 times 3, 6. 2 divided by 3, 666. You have March is the 3rd month. When you take 2013, add the 2, the 1, and the 3 together, you get 6. So you get 6, 3 score, and 6. You got 6, 6. So you have 6s all around you. All right. So I wanted to bring out all these numbers and show tonight, and just to all these events and this numerology and everything that's happening. And I don't know what else to tell people at this point in time that can't understand of what part of the game we're in right now and where your focus should be. And there's no time for games. If you're not focused in this time period, like Christ said, a thief in the night, don't be like everybody else. If you are here listening, you are those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. You're not here for a reason. I mean, you're not here just by chance. You're here for a reason. Don't be like the rest of the world and get caught up in this destruction that's coming. Okay, our thing for those that are in America is escaping the plagues that are coming to this place. Escaping the mark of the beast. I was talking to Elder Royal early the night before the show started, and we were talking about how outside of America, things aren't really organized when it comes to technology. But in America, everything is set up. The grid is completely set up. You're spending. You don't really use paper money to spend. You're using a debit card or a credit card or some type of digital currency. Cell phones with GPS tracking. You're using these new softwares on these cell phones. iPhone, which I call the all-seeing iPhone. You got the Google Android, which all of these things are there to track and monitor you everywhere you go. Facebook timeline. All these things are linked in to track where you're at and to show the whole world where you're at. Okay? So the grid is in place. The thing is, are you going to get off the grid? Get out of America, because the grid is not set up like this in other countries. They don't have this type of technology set up to track you. But here in America, and that's the reason why Obama just ordered these drones to be ramped up here, this is where it's going to go down at. So you think everything's cozy and fine in America now. It's not going to be for long. They're making everything seem crazy outside of here. When we have people living outside the states that have lived outside the states for several years in other countries around all of these places that they say are so bad, and they're living fine. Outside barbecuing, and the news is telling you it's a riot going on, and they're outside barbecuing, having a good old time, and nothing's happening where they're at. Okay? So we're about to see who really has faith in these times, because your faith is about to get tested. So if you're not in the Most High, keeping these commandments, you're not putting these works in, you have no faith. Us as elders in this church, we can't do all the work. Everybody is a member of the body, meaning you have a position in the body. You have a function. Everybody can't be the head. Somebody has to be the hand. Somebody has to be the foot. Somebody has to be the toes. And you have to understand where you fit in the body and get in position and get it together. And, we can get on this blog talk or get on these internet venues and say all of this stuff. If it's not registering, we're putting this out, we've sounded the trumpet. It's time for everybody to get in line with the Most High if you want to make it through what's about to happen. Because as you can see, with the occult and their numerology, they got it pinpointed down to a T when they're finna make these things happen. And it's not finna stop. So I just wanted to bring that out. We have some callers in the queue. I'm going to go ahead and bring them in. We have a caller from the 413 area code 9817. You're on the air.
Shalom, Elder. How are you? Shabbat Shalom. How are you?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Barak, sis.
It's Sister Charlotte from Massachusetts. Wow, this just blew my mind. I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to start anyway. But my question is, where was Sissy Houston when they were partying underneath her daughter's body? I'm wondering if she had any rights. I do know that when you deal with the Illuminati and the Masons, they take possession of your body. The family don't get to, do any of the funeral arrangements or any of that. So I'm really concerned, like, where was she? That I tried to find something, that maybe she, protest against that, or I didn't see anything. So I'm just wondering why she stayed shut, why this was going on with her daughter. I just can't imagine it.
With whose daughter?
Sissy Houston. I'm saying.
Sissy, that's her mom?
Whitney's mother, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know much about her mom.
Right. But I'm just asking, like, where was she when they left her daughter's body up there for 11 hours while he was downstairs partying?
That's a good question. There's no telling. She maybe was, who knows? I mean, I haven't seen anybody talk about that.
Yeah, and I looked for it and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I know whenever Whitney's daughter had found out what happened, she was trying to get to the hotel and get inside, and they wouldn't even let her inside. They kept her from going inside so they could keep her body in that position for 11 hours.
Wow.
So, I mean, and when you look at these things and you just see it for what everything is going on, I mean, it's so disheartening at what they're doing to our people and how blind our people are behind all of this stuff. And the same way Whitney Houston was singing and dancing to Madonna halftime performance, it was a ritual for her death.
Wow.
And she's singing and dancing to it. There was some footage that came out. She's singing and dancing to her ceremony, her ritual for her death. It's the same thing the American people are doing now. They're singing and dancing to their death out here in America, not knowing that all of this stuff is a ritual to get
them
fattened up for the slaughter to meet the piper.
Yeah. Also, it seems like because the black people, they dominated the music world, and it seems as if though they seriously have to get rid of all those people that dominated the music world. Because I thought about it when this girl Adele won all those awards, like they were waking her up and getting rid of, all these other famous people or whatever, because I don't think there'll ever be another Whitney Houston. So I don't care how loud, they trained Adele to take her voice. There'll never be another Whitney. So.
Yeah, and it's really sad. I mean, it's just how Satan gets you out here, and he'll have you out, in the den of wolves, and you'll be blindfolded, and you won't even know it the whole time that you're amongst wolves. He'll have you that blind, and this is the condition he has our people. And all of these so-called stars, all of these entertainers, they're about to get exposed of. Because once the elite, the Illuminati, Satan, once they have no more use for you, you're expendable, you're gone. You're gone.
And that's the problem with our people, too, is that we love attention. And these elite people, they know that all you have to do, I look at Martin and Eddie Murphy and all of them, if they can get a laugh out of anybody, they'll do anything to get a laugh, and they get all this fame and attention, and and they don't realize that these people are laughing at them. They may be laughing with them of some of the funny things, but they causing them to spend more time grabbing attention for themselves and keeping their focus. I mean, this is what colleges do for you. This is what schools do for you. They keep the focus, or keep you from focusing on the Bible and the Father. You know what I'm saying? So, and also I wanted to ask you about in 2011 in May, wasn't there a rumor people were taking their money out the bank and claiming that, it was going to be the end of the world and all this stuff here.
Well, there was a guy, a false prophet, who said he was a preacher, a pastor named Harold Camping, and he was telling the world that the rapture was going to happen, I believe, like on May 23rd or some madness, the 21st or something. And so you had people that were going crazy and with their bank accounts and all of that.
These people are sometimes planted by the elite,
right?
False to get
flag,
people going,
keep people safe.
Yeah, that was also 9 months. That was 9 months before Whitney Houston's death as well. So they spin a lot of rumors. A lot of times they start rumors and things like that, and then like months or maybe even a year or so later is when they cause some kind of disaster where the whole world will witness this thing, like 9/11. I'm sure like probably almost everybody knew exactly what they was doing that day. That was like the day the world stood still. Same thing happened with Michael Jackson, and then this thing again with Whitney Houston. It's like these people seem to make sure at one point at a certain time that we all stand still, and if that doesn't get our attention and realize that these people are just trying to take us out, and they're going to accomplish a lot of what they want to do, But and my last question is about this Memphis, Tennessee thing. That's my hometown. Would it be safe to say for me to I mean my grandmother, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, like everybody is in Memphis, Tennessee, from my mom's side of the family, and I had called my grandmother like in 2009 because I had a dream about Memphis, Tennessee, the 901 area code or something like that, and I called my grandmother, and there was a big earthquake there, and I had people standing out in front of my house with a black on and all this crazy stuff. But when I went outside, in reality, my front yard, my concrete had sunk in. So I don't know what was going on with that, but I did call my grandmother. And then I started looking in the scriptures, like this dream was like so powerful, and I started looking in the scriptures. And then my mom had read a scripture to me, something about don't worry about dreams and things like that, or whatever. And then anyway, right after she said that to me, probably a few hours later, I came across Hosea 9:6. Okay, can you explain that scripture to me? And I'll let you go.
What scripture was it?
Hosea 9:6.
Hosea chapter 9. Let me get it here. Jonathan, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Read Hosea 9:6.
All right, hold on. Hosea chapter 9, verse 6. For lo, they are gone because of destruction. Egypt shall gather them up. Memphis shall bury them. The pleasant places for their silver. Metals shall possess them. Thorns shall be in their tabernacles.
Okay. Let me see here. That that's definitely fitting for the information that we brought out. I mean, showing right there Memphis with Egypt, and I haven't actually read up on this chapter, so I'll have to do that and then see as far as if this is prophecy that's past or if it's relevant as far as today.
Mhm. Because my family seriously think I'm crazy. Like, if I was to call my grandmother or whatever and say to her, I mean, my grandmother's hitting 100 years old, and she's stuck in her ways.
Well, I can't say that this isn't necessarily referring to.
I'm not even talking about the scripture. I'm just
what
talking
we brought
about
out tonight. I don't think it has anything to do with the actual Memphis here. This is talking more so Egypt. But just showing that Memphis, the ties between Memphis and Egypt. But yeah, I mean, understand that they're right on the New Madrid fault line, And I mean, it doesn't even matter where you're at in America, regardless if you're on the fault line or not. If you're in America, you know, after it's said and done, nobody's going to be here. At the end, is flames.
Right.
You know, nuclear fire. So regardless of where you're at in America, you're not safe when it all goes down.
And you don't know the timeline between the earthquake and the nuclear.
No, the scriptures tell us to come out of here. It doesn't, you know, give us dates and things like that. But Christ told us the things to look for. Mm-hmm. So he said wars and rumors of wars. Are we in that time period?
We're definitely in the rumors right now.
Earthquakes in diverse places. I mean, we're in the wars too with Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. So the wars are there, and you got the rumors of war: Syria, Iran, North Korea, Russia, China, plagues, famines. You know, all of these things are happening right now. So we're in that time. We're in that day, and this generation will not pass until the second coming of Christ. So understand is that it's going to happen within our lifetime, and that this thing is going to happen fast. So, you know, we have to go by the things the Most High shows us, and, you know, he lets us know. A lot of times for people, the Most High is talking to them, and they don't want to look at it as the Most High talking to them, because it doesn't fit in with their routine. So they're ignoring and keep doing what they want to do. But if you're watching and praying always, so that you may be accounted worthy to escape all of these things, that's what Christ commanded us to do.
Yeah.
So that's what people should be doing, and they put themselves in position to be accounted wortly.
You're talking about stiff neck. Oh my goodness, I've never seen it. I didn't know that our people were really just this stiff neck. I mean, you talking about proud. I mean, now I know what pride is. I understand. And let me hit you with one more thing before I get off, Elder. I had a grandbaby that was born on the 28th yesterday, and you know my son stayed at the hospital. Now these teenagers, they're 18 years old, both the mom and the dad. They're 18 years old, and the baby's been staying in the nursery. I mean, in the room with the parents. And last night the nurse go and take the baby, and my son was sleeping, and the mother, you know, her dad and her mother, her stepmother, all of them, they agree with everything, you know, man says, and, you know, the doctors are right and all that. They let the baby get a hepatitis B shot last night. So I spoke with the nurse this morning, and she really got indignant. She got an attitude with me because I asked her could she, you know, produce the ingredients, and I'm not talking about her. She said, okay, I'll write them down. I said, no. I said, there's a piece of paper that comes inside the vial, and it gives you all the ingredients and instructions and all of that there, what's in the vaccine. Can you give that to my son or whatever? She says, well, I'm a trained professional, and these kids are old enough to make their own decision. I says, now you're making them believe in you. Okay, but they didn't plan to give their baby any type of shots or whatever. So I sent my son and my daughter-in-law some information about those vaccines. And she says to me, well, the baby needs it's mandatory now, and they can't go to school without it. I don't want them to go to school. I don't want the baby to go to school. She just came out the womb, and already they're talking this mess. But these young people got to wake up. I mean, I'm looking at it like this. They're going to have children or whatever. They got to start listening to people. You know what I'm saying? They really have to start listening, because we have volunteered our children's death with these people. You know, we volunteered our children's illnesses, even our own, just believing in everything they say. And somehow this nurse convinced my daughter-in-law that, all that stuff is rumors or whatever, you know. And then it turned out that she and my son was like back and forth. And I said, this is how they destroy families. You know, they cause, you know, the women to believe in them, and then the women turn against their man. You know, it was just a whole crazy thing. But that's all I wanted to bring out, and just ask you to pray. That's my 25th grandchild, and you guys lift me up in your prayers.
Okay, we'll do this. We'll definitely keep you and your family in our prayers, and you make sure you do the same. All right?
I sure will. Shabbat shalom, Elder.
Okay, Shabbat shalom, and thanks for supporting the show, Sister Charlotte. And if you could press the number 1 to exit the call queue for us. All right. We got a caller from the 254 area code 7758. You're on the air.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
All right, you covered just about everything. I had to, put it on hold a few times for different things. Did you get the Super Bowl score at all?
No, I haven't, because I know we talked about that in the past shows, and I know you brought it out last night, but you can go ahead and bring it out again if you want.
Well, there's quite a few things that kind of go with that. There's what was it? The internet being shut down by the FBI on the 8th of this month. They're installing the kill switch, so that'll shut down. Then you got how Israel did the run the commercials last month and the month before for all the Jewish people in America to go back to Israel because something was fixing to happen. They needed to stay away from or double security at the synagogues and whatnot also.
Yeah, I mean, and it just goes into the scriptures when it says they should return to their own land, every man returning to their own land, and we know that they're not going to be in Israel long.
Hey, you know what? Actually, I gotta check in somebody real quick. Just drop me out of the queue, and I'll come back in, and I'll finish what I'm saying here in a minute.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we got a caller from. Let me get it up here. Let's see, 330 area code. You're on the air.
Hey, Shalom, brother. How you doing?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, when you were going over those numbers, you talked about the month of April.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. One of the things that comes up in April that I've never really heard of until now is something called a blood moon. And there's a Wikipedia about it, but it's real small, but I think you might be interested in what blood moon is.
And it's been a few blood moons that have happened here recently in recent years. Do you know the date, or you just know what's going to happen in April?
Well, it doesn't give a date. It gives definitions. Okay, it's titled under Black Moon. All right, so it goes the second occurrence of the new moon in a calendar. And it gives 3 definitions. The second definition is the third new moon in a season that has 4 of them. The third definition is the absence of a full moon in a calendar, and the fourth definition is the absence of a new moon in a calendar month. Absence of a full moon in a calendar month, and an absence of a new moon in a calendar month. Now, the moon that comes right before that is like, it's called the sap moon or the worm moon, and it says this occurs in March, this month. The sap moon refers to tapping maple trees during this month. Also, worm trails appearing this month. Other names for this month is full moon is the chaste moon, as in chastity belt, and the death moon, as in death. Yeah. When I read this about the sap moon, even though we're talking about April, when I read this about the sap moon, wormwood always comes to mind because it talks about it's called the sap moon or the worm moon because the sap runs down the tree to look like a worm on the tree or a worm on the wood. All right, so the April's moon, it's called the growing moon, and they don't have any information on the growing moon. But, and then, you know how you're talking about Whitney Houston? Have you heard, did you watch any of the tributes to her?
I don't think I've seen too much on that. I may have seen a little bit, but I don't think I've seen too much.
All right, like I watched some guy's video that drew my attention to this. There's an Alicia Keys tribute at Whitney Houston's funeral. There's a video on YouTube. It's 6 minutes and 6 seconds long. All right, now the video is kind of, I don't know, man. A lot of people like it, but I don't know. She does some weird things. In the beginning of the video, she does a bunch of sniffling and stuff like an addict, okay? But at the end of the video, at 5 minutes and 32 seconds, she says, real fly, she says, "Thank you, Lucif. Thank you for guiding me." And the song she's singing is "Send Me an Angel."
You know, and I do recall, now that you said Alicia Keys, I do remember seeing something, either in an email or a news headline, something about Alicia Keys and Whitney Houston so-called, tribute, but I didn't check into it. So that's something I'm definitely going to check out, that song and the lyrics to that song, because, "Send Me an Angel," and then what you just said, how she did that. And we know what Alicia Keys is about now. And it's funny because back in like 2008, I remember that she was talking about the Illuminati, and she was saying a bunch of stuff in a news article, magazine, like in Ebony or something.
Right.
And she was talking about all the stuff that was going on, and like how she switched. And this is what they do, is they come and they send a Jewish handler out to come get you. The same thing with the Mari Stoudemire. He was talking about the 12 tribes and how Issachar was the 12 tribes. During the whole time that that whole Mexican thing was going down out by Arizona, he was speaking out on Twitter and saying all this and that. Well, what did they do? They sent a Jewish guy, a handler. It was his agent, to come get him and shipped him up to New York, the Jewish capital of America. And now look at him. He's totally turned out by the beast. I mean, he's not talking none of the 12 tribe stuff no more, and they converted him over into being Jewish. So that's what they do. They come and get us, snatch us up. And see, our people don't understand is that they're being used. As soon as they're finished using you, they're going to dispose of you. And even the elite, they don't understand that once Satan is done with them, he's going to dispose of them, because he understands he can't fight against the Most High.
Right.
So everybody's been deceived by Satan. He sits at the top of the pyramid. So, but I will check that out. That's very interesting. And we have actually a couple more callers that I want to get to. And but thank you for calling in as always and bringing information out.
Don't really.
Supporting the show.
Thanks for being there. Shalom.
All right. Shabbat shalom. If you could press 1 for me, Brother Lexwell, as well, take you out of the queue. And I'm going to hit one more caller, and then I want to get to the next part of our show, and then we can, bring out the other callers once we finish. We got a caller here from the 661 area code 7275. You're on the air.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey, Shabbat shalom.
I don't know if you were aware, but today is the 50th anniversary on which Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in one game. I don't know, when you were talking about the whole Miami Heat, LeBron, NBA thing, that kind of like stuck out to me, and I was just wondering if there was something like about that you know what? About.
Now that you say it, I wouldn't doubt it at all, because I do remember seeing, I think at work, they were showing Wilt Chamberlain on TV holding up the 100. I just thought they were just showing that. I didn't know it was the anniversary, but I wouldn't doubt it at all. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's some type of significance in what he did. As a matter of fact, I need to go and look at his stats and see how many free throws he shot, how many field goals he made, things like that, because they'll have numbers in that in itself to give away clues.
I remember seeing it say he made 28 out of 32 free throws, and only thing I remember about the shots was he attempted 66 shots.
No, he couldn't attempt at 66. I don't think he attempted. Did he attempt 66 shots?
I believe that's what it said when I was looking at it earlier.
I'll have to check on that. But yeah, if you look at stat line, we know 32 is a high degree in masonry.
Yeah.
when you look at these stats, they give a lot of clues in them itself. Their goal is to go out and hit a certain number in these stats to show their allegiance to the Illuminati. So, and then understand he's dead now.
Yeah.
He went to the dentist because he had like pain in his mouth from his teeth, and then they operated on him, and then after that he shortly died.
Yeah, you know the rest of that story.
So,
another thing, what were you saying? I don't remember that what you was just saying. I think to the last call about Amari saying something on Twitter about Issachar and the Mexicans.
Yeah, this was back like before he signed with New York, like that year, the year before, when that whole Mexican border thing was going on in Arizona. That big whole fiasco that they stirred up out there, and he was telling them to leave the Mexicans alone. They part of the 12 tribes of Israel, and he was talking about Yah. So he was definitely listening. He was definitely listening to some Black Hebrew Israelites. And then the Jewish guy, I don't know if he was his agent at that time, but I know he is a Jewish agent now. And he took that pilgrimage over to Egypt. To Israel. They put a yarmulke on his head, and he sold his soul at that point. They straight, probably had him with one of them top Kabbalist priests, Jewish, synagogue of Satan, rabbis, and that was it. That's all it took. Then they shipped him to New York, and we know that's where all the Jewish people is. So
yeah, now you're seeing with the pyramid chain and everything.
Right.
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 One more question before you start the lesson again. Can you break down Revelation 11 and 8 again, the last part of it?
Revelations 11 and 8. I know what part you're talking about. You're talking about the part where it says where also our Lord was crucified.
Yes.
Understand that here in America you haven't learned about Christ. We haven't learned about the true Christ of the Bible. We've been taught about Cesar Borgia. So for us, Christ was basically crucified here in America as somebody else. We weren't taught the true Christ. So they basically killed Christ here in America. They've killed him by giving you this false Christ. And also understanding that how our people were treated during that time period, how we were hung up in trees, burned at the stake and all these type of things, the same way Christ was put up on a tree. So Christ, basically, that's what it basically means. It doesn't mean that he was actually crucified in that city. Literally, it's more of a figurative speech type of crucifixion.
Okay, yeah, I want to get understanding on that and see what that one was about. But thank you. That was it, I guess, for now, and get back to the lesson and have a blessed Sabbath.
Okay, you do the same, and thanks for supporting the show. Make sure you press the number 1 to take yourself out the calling queue. We got about 18 minutes left in the show before the 4th hour starts for overtime. Time kind of got away from us and kind of flew by. There was some more information that I wanted to bring out. Don't think we're going to have time. Definitely want to take your calls. We still have some calls here in the queue, so stay in the queue. I want to pay some bills, play some commercials here, and we'll be right back.
Do you have a talent, a company, or a service to render? Would you like an avenue to get the word out? Well, GOCC Blog Talk Radio would like to connect with you to help fulfill your vision. Don't have a clear direction on where to go? It's okay. GOCC Blog Talk Radio can assist you with making your very own commercial. Call us now at 1-888-334-3330 and be on your way to the expansion of your business. That's 1-888-334-3330. GOCC Blog Talk Radio Station, starting the foundations for the building blocks of life. GOCC members at special rates.
Did you know that there's a long list of chemicals found in personal care products? A vast majority of personal care products on the market today have not been tested by any publicly accountable organization. This lack of regulation has led to companies using chemicals that have been linked to or strongly suspected to cause cancer, hormone imbalance, infertility, birth defects, learning disabilities, immune system toxicity, organ damage, asthma, and skin irritations. You can now have natural and organic products free of chemicals. Most of these products are made in Africa. We have black soap, shea butter, lotions, herbal tea and juices, fluoride-free toothpaste and oils. Visit us at www.futureroyalty1.net, www.futureroyalty1.net. For international shipping rates, email info@futureroyalty1.net.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, we're back. And again, you're listening to the Gathering of Christ Church on Blog Talk Radio, Friday Night Sabbath, coming out of Babylon. Got about a little over 10 minutes left to call in if you want to listen to the rest of the show. If you're listening online, the guest caller number is 646-200-4309. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to bring out, make sure that you press the number 1 and we'll get to your call. All right. So we're going to go into the next part of the show, which is health and nutrition. I wanted to play, go into some and play a clip, but I don't think we're going to have the time to do that. So I'm just going to skip that part, and we're going to go straight into the different vegetation that we're going to talk about tonight. But let's get some scriptures here. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6. And let's see, one moment. Let's start at verse 19.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit which is in you, which ye have of a higher, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify a higher in your body and in your spirit, which are the highest.
So for a lot of people, they don't understand that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, not these buildings. So when you ask people and they say, you know, what church do you go to? We don't go to a building, but, we gather. We break bread house to house, or we may go from this building to that building, but, we don't have a physical building that we go to every Sunday, first day of the week, because we understand that we are the temples of the Most High. The Holy Spirit is within us, and that we keep the Sabbath, which the disciples in Christ kept, all right? They never were going into any buildings on the first day of the week doing anything that you see going on in the church today. We are not our own. We belong to the Most High. Okay, so we are to glorify ourselves and our bodies in the Spirit, which is the Most High, understanding that these things were given to us by the Most High. So it doesn't mean worship yourself. It means that you should take care of your body. There's a penalty for not taking care of your temple. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and let's read verse 16 and 17.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of the Most High, him shall the Most High destroy. For the temple of the Most High is holy, which temple ye are.
So, again, we are the temple of the Most High, and the Holy Spirit dwells in us. If you defile your temple, which is the temple of the Most High will destroy you, because his temple is holy. He doesn't care about these buildings. He cares about your body and how you take care of it. Okay, it's common sense. If you eat poison, you're going to die. Understand that there's a lot of poisons in this earth that are slow kills. This enemy is put out here to slowly kill you and break your body down. So we need to get understanding on the things that we need to put in our body and the things that we're not to put in our body. Read verse 18.
Verse 18. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise.
So don't deceive yourself. All right, and how can you deceive yourself if you seem to be wise in this world? Meaning you go to these schools, these colleges, and these institutions, and get these masters and doctorate degrees, and think that you are wise. You are wise in this world. The Most High said, "Let him become a fool, that he may be wise." Read on.
For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness.
So the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. So all this stuff that you learned in school, majority of that stuff you can throw out the window. All right? That includes what they're telling you about your health. These pharmacies. We went into pharmakia last week, understanding that pharmacy comes from the Greek word pharmakia, which means witchcraft or magic. That's foolishness. Okay, to say that this pill, this man-made synthetic drug, is going to cure you, when the Most High put herbs in the earth to heal you. So that's straight foolishness. All right, verse 20.
Verse 20. And again, the Most High knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain.
So the Most High knows the thoughts of the wise, those that are wise in this world, and they are vain. So we should be seeking after the Most High's knowledge, not the knowledge that this world has given us. It's nothing but one big lie. And it's saying it to us right here in these scriptures, for those that have wisdom and understanding. Okay, so let's get some understanding. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4 and read verse 7.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding.
Wisdom is the principal thing. So wisdom is what we should be seeking. Not the wisdom of this world, but the wisdom of the Most High. Okay? His knowledge. And with all thy getting, so for all the wisdom that you get understanding. How do you get wisdom and understanding? Psalms 1:11 and 10 on how you get wisdom and understanding.
Psalms chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever.
So when you fear the Most High, that is the beginning of wisdom. And we're not talking about fear, how a lot of people say, I'm God-fearing, because they believe in God. That is, just because you believe that there's a creator doesn't mean you fear him. Because if you fear him, it says a good understanding have all they that do his commandments. So if you're not doing his commandments, then you don't understand the Most High. You don't fear him. Okay, it's just like if your parents tell you don't do something. If you fear your parents, you're not going to do it because you know there's repercussions behind the actions you commit. The Most High is the same way. He's the Father. So if you truly fear him, if he gives you a commandment, he has commandments all throughout this Bible, through these scriptures, you're going to do it. That shows your fear of him, and that is the beginning of wisdom. His praise endureth forever. So we should be praising and giving all praises to the Most High forever. Okay? From there, let's go to Genesis chapter 1. And verse 29.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
So in the beginning, the Most High gave Adam and Eve every herb bearing seed upon the face of the earth, every tree, and which is the fruit of the tree yielding seeds. To you it shall be for meat. Okay, now understand this was before the fall of Adam, so you know every tree was good except the one the Most High told them not to eat of, or told Adam not to eat of. So after eating of the tree of good and evil, the knowledge of good and evil, that was the fall of man. now the ground is cursed. So not everything that you consume out the earth or the ground as vegetation is going to be good for you. You need to know what is good for you out the earth and what isn't. Okay? So I'm going to talk about a couple of herbs tonight, and next week I'll play the clip for cleansing and detoxification. Okay, we've been on this Babylonian diet. A lot of us that live in America eating these things, from swine to, catfish to crab, lobster, all of these scavengers that carry disease and all of these heavy metals. And now our bodies need to be detoxified. So I'm going to talk about some things that can help detoxify your body and get some of these toxins and these poisons out your system. Okay. The first thing I'm going to talk about is called spirulina. All right, spirulina is a #1 superfood. Is named a #1 superfood. The superfood that supports a healthy, active lifestyle. There are over 40,000 different varieties of these single-celled organisms, but one has consistently stood above the crowd during the last 40 years for its spectacular nutrient content. This acclaimed superfood is spirulina. Spirulina is a variety of fresh water blue-green algae, similar in makeup to sea vegetables such as dulse, kelp, nori, kombu, arami, wakame, and chlorella. However, compared to other sea vegetables, spirulina has been shown to be more easily digestible and have greater nutrient bioavailability. Having gained international attention and the focus of extensive research, the AARP labeled spirulina as the #1 superfood in its September 2005 issue. What's more, because of its rich nutrient content and highly available abundant protein, the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization identified it as a potential tool in the fight against widespread malnutrition. And we talked about moringa last week, so spirulina is kind of like on the level of moringa as far as what it does. It's a green plant, kind of giving out the same benefits. Deep blue-green spirulina provides complete digestible protein along with other important phytonutrients. Simply stated, containing up to 70% protein by weight, and with all the essential amino acids. The quality of spirulina's protein rivals that of the best protein sources. This even includes milk, eggs, and beef. However, one must consider the dosing, since spirulina is typically used in much smaller levels than these proteins. It is typically considered a supplement and not a protein replacement. What's more, spirulina is one of the highest, most digestible sources of complete protein. A complete protein contains all essential amino acids. Spirulina contains other important phytonutrients too. Carotenoids, essential fatty acids including hard-to-find gamma-linoleic acid for your heart and joint health, vitamin B12, minerals such as iron, magnesium, calcium, selenium, and zinc, sulfolipids, and the antioxidant enzyme superoxide dismutase, all of which are in bioavailable form. And that's not all. Deep within spirulina's rich blue-green color lays a rainbow of health-supporting pigments. Within spirulina's deep dark color lies an impressive array of natural pigments. Green from chlorophyll, blue from phycocyanin, and orange for carotenoids, all collecting and passing along the sun's energy and supporting your healthy, normal growth. In fact, spirulina is one of the highest sources for phytopigments like phycocyanin, beta-carotene, zeaxanthin, and other plant pigments. One of the richest beta-carotene foods in existence, spirulina's 10 mixed carotenoids, including orange carotenes, alpha, beta, gamma, and yellow xanthophylls, work within your body. Research suggests spirulina's potential benefits for promoting total body health, including promoting normal immune response, promoting optimal gastrointestinal flora, supporting optimal digestion, helping to maintain normal blood pressure levels that are already within the normal range, helping to maintain normal blood sugar levels that are already within the normal range, promoting increased seasonal comfort, supporting heavy metal detoxification, promoting optimal cardiovascular health, supporting normal immune system activity, and curbing hunger, and promoting a feeling of increased energy. Of all the phytopigments found in spirulina, there is one in particular generating much interest among scientists. This unique pigment found only in spirulina is especially recognized among scientists for its phycocyanin content, the vibrant phytopigment that gives spirulina its natural bluish tint. Studies show that phycocyanin may have multiple health benefits, including support of brain and heart health, protection against oxidative stress, and the promotion of a healthy immune system. In mammals, phycocyanin converts to phycocyanin rubin, an antioxidant very close in structure to bilirubin. Why is this important? Evidence suggests that bilirubin can protect tissues against free radical-caused oxidative damage. In fact, slightly elevated bilirubin blood levels have been linked to normal, healthy cardiovascular function. Phycocyanin is found only in spirulina, and it's plentiful too. Phycocyanin makes up about 16% of spirulina's total weight. Plus, phycocyanin may play a major role in stem cell regeneration, especially in bone marrow and blood cells. Phycocyanin supports the creation of the red blood cells that oxygenate your body and the white blood cells that make up your cellular immune system. What's more, scientists have discovered that phycocyanin in spirulina supports white blood cell production. When I do recommend a supplement, I believe it's important to use one derived from safe, whole foods. This helps ensure that you receive all of the cofactors and enzymes naturally found in the food, along with the vitamins and minerals. With whole food supplements, you're not getting isolated, lab-manufactured vitamins and minerals like those typically found in many supplements. Rather, you're receiving them as nature intended, as part of an entire food. Spirulina powder is readily available today, both online and in health food stores. Problem is, many people shun spirulina because of its strong algae scent and taste. Commonly added to smoothies and green drinks, the taste of spirulina is difficult to mask. You either love it or you don't. Another option is to include generous quantities of sea vegetables such as kombu, kelp, arami, dulse, kelp, nori, or wakame in your everyday diet, just like 95% of the Japanese population. Warning, spirulina and nutrient-rich sea vegetables aren't always good for your health. Be sure to avoid any spirulina or sea vegetables grown in areas subject to radiation fallout. As healthy as spirulina, kelp, and other sea vegetables may be, here's a word of caution. If you do include them in your diet now, just as eating some fish can negatively impact your health because of heavy metal and chemical contamination, most sea vegetables and many natural sources of spirulina are now contaminated as well. Plus, many sea vegetables have been found to contain bromine instead of iodine. And since the Fukushima nuclear incident, I recommend that you avoid any sea vegetables, including spirulina and kelp, from Japan and nearby waters harvested after March 1st, 2011, as they may be contaminated with radiation. If you can be certain the sea vegetables you choose to eat are toxin and radiation free, I believe this is the ideal way to obtain the important whole food nutrients you need. However, if you're like most Americans and other Westerners, I'm guessing that sea vegetables are not likely to fill your plate on a daily basis anytime soon. For that reason, I'm now recommending that you include a supplemental source of spirulina in your diet every day for that added measure of nutrition. Since not all sources can be trusted, how do you find a spirulina that's nutritious and safe? There's no shortage of spirulina products in the marketplace. How do you know which is high in important nutrients and which one you'd feel comfortable taking yourself and giving to your family. When choosing a spirulina supplement, here are some of the important nutrients that I believe you should look for. Total carotenoids, phycocyanin, zeaxanthin, chlorophyll, and gamma-linolenic acid. To safeguard you and your family, I recommend that you make sure your source is organic and has independent third-party lab verification that the spirulina is both toxin and radiation-free and contains iodine and not bromine. Know your source. Some less than optimal brands add animal waste to deceptively boost protein levels. Insist on vegetarian organic nutrients in your spirulina supplement. The website GreenMedInfo has assembled a list of studies that found evidence of over 40 conditions. Okay, let's stop right there. Let me go into the next herb, which is called chlorella. And a lot of times you may hear of chlorella and spirulina linked together. They're very similar. The website GreenMedInfo has assembled a list of studies that found evidence of over 40 conditions that chlorella can help to prevent or ease. The conditions include hypertension, anemia, diabetes, acute stress, fibromyalgia, and liver cancer. According to one of the studies on the subject, chlorella vulgaris has been reported to have antioxidant and anti-cancer properties. Our studies show that chlorella has definite chemopreventative effect by including apoptosis in hepatocarcinogenesis, which is liver cancer-induced rats. Chlorella is a single-celled freshwater algae. It's one of the most heavily researched algae in the world. It's often referred to as a near-perfect food, as research through the years have identified an astounding range of health benefits. While being well known for its ability to detoxify your body by binding to toxins and carrying them out of your system, that's certainly not all it's good for. Chlorella's impressive range of health benefits. As you will see, chlorella seems to fit the description of a wonder nutrient that serves far more than just one function. Here's a sampling of some of the health benefits associated with this green algae. Repairing nerve tissues, enhancing your immune system, improving digestion, promoting healthy pH levels in your gut, which in turn helps good bacteria to thrive, enhancing your ability to focus and concentrate, increasing your energy levels, normalizing your blood sugar, normalizing your blood pressure, removing potentially toxic metals from your body, eliminating bad breath. Chlorella can also be of benefit to vegetarians and vegans looking for proteins and B vitamins from a non-animal source. About 60% of it is protein, and because it contains all the essential amino acids your body needs, it's considered to be a complete protein. It's also rich in GABA, folate, vitamin B12, and iron. 6 health conditions chlorella may help prevent or treat. As mentioned earlier, chlorella has and still is being researched for a number of health conditions. Here's a list of 6 common health problems and diseases where chlorella may be of particular benefit. Insulin resistance. Earlier this year, researchers discovered that chlorella has the ability to improve fructose-induced insulin sensitivity. As I've discussed on numerous occasions, excessive fructose consumption is the #1 cause of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. In this animal study, after being fed fructose-rich chow for 4 weeks, the rats were then given chlorella 3 times a day for 5 days, which brought their elevated glucose insulin values back to normal. The authors concluded that oral administration of chlorella has the ability to improve insulin sensitivity, which may be used as an adjuvant therapy for patients with insulin resistance. Detoxification is particularly helpful when used in conjunction with an infrared sauna and taken 2 hours before you go into the sauna. Basically, chlorella is beneficial if you're taking it before you go into a sauna. This way, the chlorella will be in your intestine and ready to bind to the toxins that are released when you are in the sauna. It will bind irreversibly to the toxins and be safely excreted when you have your bowel movement. Diabetes. Additional evidence supporting the theory that chlorella can improve insulin sensitivity can be found in an earlier study. Here, the algae was found to improve insulin sensitivity and glucose uptake in the liver in type 1 diabetic rats. The authors suggest chlorella's hypoglycemic effects may be due to improved glucose uptake in the liver and the soleus muscles. Another mechanism may be related to decreased levels of non-sterified fatty acids, since insulin sensitivity is usually blunted by elevated non-esterified fatty acids in type 1 diabetes. Hypertension. The results from a placebo-controlled, double-blind study published 2 years ago suggest that chlorella can significantly decrease high normal blood pressure and borderline hypertension. The authors propose that it may be a beneficial dietary supplement for preventing hypertension, with no apparent adverse side effects. Anemia, proteinuria, and edema in pregnant women. Pregnancy-induced hypertension and anemia are common and potentially dangerous. One of the primary causes for these conditions is the woman's nutritional status. A study published last year found that chlorella may help improve both of these conditions in pregnant women, likely due to its high folate, B12, and iron content. Subjects took 6 grams of chlorella per day, starting somewhere between the 12th to the 18th week of gestation, unit delivery. The chlorella group had significantly lowered rates of anemia compared to the control group. They also had fewer incidences of proteinuria and edema, 2 symptoms associated with pregnancy-induced hypertension. Here, too, the authors concluded that chlorella supplement may be useful as a resource of its natural folate, B12, and iron for pregnant women. Fibromyalgia. Although the individual results were varied, it may be worth considering chlorella if you suffer with fibromyalgia. A study published in 2000 tested the effectiveness of 2 commercially available chlorella-based products on patients diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and the overall results showed a 22% decrease in pain intensity. However, while 7 patients reported improvement in their fibromyalgia symptoms, 6 reported no effect at all, and 5 claimed the symptoms had worsened during the trial. So keep that in mind if you decide to try it. While it may help some, it might not work for all others. Liver cancer. A study published in 2009 discovered that chlorella triggers cell death apoptosis in rat liver cancer cells, which suggests it may be useful in the prevention of liver cancer. The authors concluded that our study shows that chlorella has a definite chemopreventative effect by inducing apoptosis via decreasing the expression of BCL2 and increasing the expression of caspase-8 in hepatocarcinogenesis induced rats. Okay. For additional research findings, check out GreenMed Info's chlorella page, which lists more than 40 health conditions for which chlorella may be of benefit. Okay. Chlorella, a potent detox agent. Heavy metal toxicity, just like the chemical toxicity, has become one of the most pressing health hazards of our day, and this is where chlorella may be profoundly useful. Its ability to bind to heavy metal toxins, allowing them to be safely excreted from your body, has been well established. It's particularly crucial for systematic mercury elimination because the majority of mercury is rid through your stool. Once the mercury burden is lowered from your intestines, mercury from other body tissues will be more readily to migrate into your intestines, where chlorella will work to remove it. You can also add cilantro, which works as a synergetic detoxification aid along with the chlorella. This combination is particularly useful to take when you're consuming seafood. as most are invariably contaminated with heavy metals and chemicals. Ideally, you would take it with the meal, so the chlorella can bind directly to the toxins while they are in your gut before they are absorbed in your body. In order to optimize heavy metal detox, you'll want to take at least 4 grams of chlorella every day year-round. Be aware that side effects may occur. As your body starts to detox, you may initially experience some slight nausea and/or mild diarrhea. These symptoms are too bothersome. You may want to lower your dose initially and slowly increase the dose. As your body is cleansed of toxins, these side effects should disappear. Infrared saunas are another phenomenal detox approach. I seek to do a 20-minute sauna virtually every day I am home. Okay. The crucial detail that determines chlorella's effectiveness. The key to chlorella's detoxing abilities lies within its membrane. But the fibrous cell wall of the chlorella is actually indigestible to humans. This is why most chlorella products use the term broken cell wall to describe the fact that chlorella has been rendered digestible. Okay. Also, when it comes to spirulina and chlorella, I know in past shows we've talked about flaxseed and how it's able to detoxify you of radiation, and also heal your lungs or whatever body part may be damaged from radiation. Well, spirulina and chlorella has also been shown to be used to treat victims of Chernobyl. So you can also look, do a search for that if you want more information on its anti-radiation fighting and healing for both of those herbs as well. Okay, so these herbs detoxify you. They get metals out of your body, mercury mainly, radiation, aluminum, and things like this. They bind to these metals and they take them out of your body. They're rich in chlorophyll, which is what makes up plants. Some of the most, chlorophyll dense plants you can consume, which is gaining energy from the sun. So that's all I was going to bring out on those 2 herbs, and I'm going to go ahead and open the lines back up. We got some callers here. We got about 40 minutes left in the show. We got a caller from the 347 area code 6206. You're on the air.
All right. Shalom, Sabbath.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
My thing was how in Acts chapter 5, verse 30th, it says how Yeshua was hung from a cross. Hung from a tree. How did the cross get into like the Bible and everybody, like all the churches, using that as saying that Christ was crucified that way instead of the tree, and why do they overlook that, and where does the cross come from as to signify Christ's crucifixion?
Well, a lot of people misunderstand that scripture, and sometimes even kind of be a stumbling block to them. Understand that a cross is made from what? A tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as far as the exact method of how, exactly how the cross or the tree looked, that shouldn't be our focus. We can speculate and debate that all day long, but the fact that we should focus on is that he was put up for our sacrifice. These things weren't elegantly made. It wasn't like they took time to make these things look how you would see them in the Christian church in a perfect T shape. Now, know that more than likely he wasn't put up on a T-shaped wooden tree, because the T standing for Tammuz, more than likely the arms would have been put above his head, and the nails would have been driven through above his head, and then his feet would have been, nails driven through them as well. Okay, but that's really, neither here or there. The important fact is he was put on a tree. It was made from wood, and he died for our sins, and, he was our sacrifice. And that's the part we should focus on, not so much on how exactly did it look,
Okay. I think that's it for right now. I had another question, but then I kind of forgot because of the health lesson. So I'll just wait till it comes back to mind.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put you back in the queue, and then if it comes back up, then you can always come back in.
All right, thanks, brother.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, and just make sure that you press 1 to exit the calling queue. And thanks for supporting the show. We have the next caller. We have from the 661 area code 7275. You're on the air.
Shalom, brother. I'm back. I was the one from earlier. I had a question. What family is of Edom is Britain, or where can I find out which family of Esau is from?
That would be a good question for Sunday's show, because we're going to have hopefully Fritz Springmeier, from the author of The Bloodlines of the Illuminati, to know. They would be from Amalek primarily. Okay. Queen Elizabeth, Amalek, the Rothschilds, Amalek. But that would definitely be something good to bring out. Hopefully, Elder Ricard will be on there as well to ask his questions, and we can get some real good understanding on these bloodlines. Because Fritz Springmeier pretty much has all the information, but hopefully through Scripture we can help tie it together for him to further his understanding on these bloodlines and how it links to the Bible.
And you say Sunday at what time?
Show usually starts at 8 p.m. Central Time. 9 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. So
just Germany is Teeman, right?
It possibly they could be part of Teeman. That is true.
Oh, okay. One last thing. I just wanted to add on from earlier. Earlier, I don't know, the other day, I guess. From the Miami Heat, Chris Bosh's grandmother had passed away. And so I don't know, that was probably a sacrifice for.
What day did she die?
I'm not sure.
I would like to see the date, and I would like to see her age. And
okay.
and that would definitely tell a lot. Do you know what she died from? Just natural causes, or did they say?
No, they haven't said yet, but I'll probably try and look it up and try and get back in and tell you.
Yeah, and that's another thing when it comes to these athletes, is you'll see a lot of people around them die. Like before the All-Star game last year, before Blake Griffin won the slam dunk contest, his best friend died a week before the slam dunk contest.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mysterious death. So you'll see these mysterious deaths. Michael Jordan's dad was killed. He was a blood sacrifice.
Yeah, and it's like no one will I don't know if the people around them ever think to question that. They'll see it with their celebrity family member or close friend, and then when they look at, and then I don't know if they ever look at other people and see that the same thing is happening. I don't know if they ever question that and really yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of people is being scared that are in that, and also deceived by Satan, whereas Satan will make you think, I won't hurt you. What I did to them was for this reason. So as long as you obey me, he'll get you out on that limb, knowing that you can't walk out on that limb. You're too heavy for it, but you're blindfolded. You don't know, and then when it snaps, it's a long way down to you hit the bottom. But when you hit the bottom, that's it. So that's what happens to a lot of these so-called celebrities and these stars, is they get caught up in it, and it's blood in, blood out. So it's like, hey, I might as well enjoy it while I can. That's and then you have a lot that will come out and speak out against these things, and so
it's like wisdom of Solomon and the Apocrypha tell you thoughts of these people and how they just think they're going to go on forever, and they're not thinking about tomorrow. And,
exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like you see the scripture, it's clear as day, Job 9:24, where it says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, and it's like I don't know what people think when they read that. Like, do you not know that Satan controls the world and he controls all the media entertainment that you see? It's just my thing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. When you see it and you see it what it is. And it's just that much harder when you're dealing with other people that can't see it, and you're trying to explain it to them, and they like talk, looking at you like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people they do see it, and they kind of have a feeling, but they don't want to believe it.
I think what it is, I think what gets most of these people is they see wicked, they see evil, they're just so caught up in thinking that they'll be raptured at the end time, so they just don't care.
The rapture, or hey, don't rock my boat. Don't burst my bubble. Let me live in my happiness. I want to live my fairy tale matrix world and life.
Live young, wild, and free. How they just say nothing thinking.
Do what thou wilt.
Mm-hmm. One other question before I leave. My brother wanted me to ask this. I don't know if you knew, but what did Eazy-E say to get killed? The rapper?
Well, I know that that his handler, his manager was Jewish. Name was Keller. And, he was starting to speak out on a lot of things that was going on. And he was going to bring some real stuff out, and they got rid of him quick.
Yeah. Was it the same thing with Biggie?
Well, I don't necessarily know if that Biggie was going to come out. I know that Biggie he had a clothing line he was trying to drop, 666. That they wouldn't let him drop that clothing line. And I'm pretty sure at this time, if he wanted to drop a clothing line called 666, they would let him. But during that time, they wasn't going to let him do that. That was just if you listen to his later songs, he was talking about send me to hell and I can't wait to go to hell. And I was like, wow, his songs was straight demonic before he went out. So he was definitely in bed with Satan at the end.
Yeah, I think that was about it. And if I can try and get that information about Chris Bosh's grandmother, and I'll probably call back in.
Yeah, bring it out. I'll look into it too. And we have to just be looking for these things, so when we see it, we know what to look for and signs to let us know. Hey, this is a sign. Hey, it's time to go, or do this or do that. So.
Yeah, because it could pop off at any minute now.
Any second. We see how they work. We see how they're on a time schedule. They're doing things strictly to numbers and numerology and the sky and the stars and all of that. So hey, we got to be ready.
Yeah, I saw him spraying I saw him spraying like a bunch of chemtrail all around like the sun and just all over the sky. It's just crazy now.
They've ramped up the chemtrails, that's for sure.
Yeah, but okay, I'm gonna let you get to the next caller, and I'll probably get back to you with that information.
All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom. And press the number 1. Exit yourself from the queue there for me. And we're gonna go to the next caller. We have 954-9951. You're on the air.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. This is Jackson. Actually, I wanted to say this show was like one of the greatest shows. Although the rest for the whole week was really good, but tonight was an exceptional job, actually.
Well, I want to say thank you and bless you, and I want to say all praises to the Most High, Ahaya, for letting the information come out.
Oh man, I think it inspired me to go out and actually deliver this message because tonight was like phenomenal, and I just wanted to say that to you guys actually.
Well, hey, we appreciate it. The support. To keep us going. That's what keeps us. Bringing the information out, and to know that hey, we can't stop no matter what's going on in our personal lives or whatever we're going through or dealing with. To know that. The information, the truth must get out there. We must tear these lies down and put it out, and then it's up to all of everybody else when we bring the information out to spread it. To do your part to spread it out because we're no different. Is that we're all servants of the Most High and followers of Christ. we must all put the works in. So.
And one more thing. I needed like an elder in Pompano Beach. I don't know. I've been trying to contact Fernell, but it's been hard for me to reach him. So I can partake also in the Feast of Purim on the 4th and the 5th, Monday and Tuesday. We'd have to do it all together, but it's been hard to reach him.
Are they doing something on the feast? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I've been trying to reach through email and phone. But the phone, I don't know, somebody else has a different number, but I'm not sure about that. But
okay. So have you emailed the gatheringisone@AOL.com?
Yeah, they sent me his email, so I did send him an email, but
okay. Okay. Do me a favor. Email GOCC Texas.
Give me 1 second. Let me write it down. Hold on a second. Okay.
Yeah, GOCC Texas at ymail.com. And we will try to confirm that information, see if he's some better contact information to get him, and let you know.
Okay. All right. Again, thank you for all the information, the food information, the news, all that is great. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and thanks for your support. And you can just press the number 1 to exit from the call queue. We got the next caller, 864-0190. You're on the air.
Hey, Shalom, man. How's it going?
Hey, all is blessed. Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, I had a question about, I know you were calling out the numbers that were symbolic to the Illuminati. And I was wondering, was like the leap year, like, you know how it's like 4 years before a leap year, was that something that you would think is symbolic of anything?
Well, I know with their pagan calendar, I would say that it's something to that. I don't know anything. I haven't seen anything on that, but I'm pretty sure that there's some paganism behind that. And I guess this is a leap year, so just with that in itself, I'm pretty sure that has some type of alignment. So absolutely, I have to check into that.
Okay. Another question I was at, I heard you was talking about the blood sacrifices and all that. Do the people that make these blood, do the people that the blood sacrifices are given for, do they have to agree to them, or like, you know, are any of them like unaware of the blood sacrifices, or, you know, are they being like, you know, the fact that they're famous, you know, are people coming in, you know, just making blood sacrifices on their behalf, or do they have to actually, they have to agree to those?
Well, they necessarily ask to do it. They ask, you know, what does it take to get to this point? What do I need to do? And then they're given an ultimatum. Well, we need you to you know, sacrifice your family or whoever it may be, and you know, or they may be brought to that point to where, okay, you signed your name on the contract in blood, and the contract says that, you know, during this time period you have to give us this, and so your time is up. We need to do this, and you got a choice to make. So, you know, it's you know, a lot of different ways that it can happen and go down. You know, these people are so starstruck for fame and money, and not knowing that if they kill Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, who are you? I mean, what other people are going to put out the works and the music that they put out?
Yeah,
and to think, you know, like Jennifer Hudson, like that this can't happen to you. But again, when you're sucked into it, it's blood in, blood out. You're in a no-win situation. That's how they look at it. Like, I might as well just continue to do what I do and hope for the best.
Yeah,
and continue to enjoy my success.
Yeah, that's crazy. Another question I had, like, you know, since I come into the truth, and, you know, I've been trying to spread the word to folks. Like, you know, I try to, you know, warn people that this is Babylon. And the main thing I get, a lot of people just come at me back with scriptures telling me that, you know, like I think they go to Revelations 17 where it talks about the woman being dressed in scarlet and the different colors, and they just try to say it's the Catholic Church and everything. I was just wondering, could you shed some light onto that, like to break that down? Because, you know, I really don't know how to go into the explanation.
Right, and see,
somebody comes
in order to understand Revelation 17, you have to understand Daniel chapter 7. You have to understand Daniel chapter 2, and then you have to understand Revelations 13 before you even go into Revelation 17. So for those people, if they can't go through those particular books and precepts and break it down, then there's no way they can go in Revelation 17 and understand what that's talking about. It's impossible. You'll never understand it, because see, what they don't understand is that the whore that rides the beast, it says, was carried away. So this beast moves. And what you can do is go to Revelations 13. You see two beasts in Revelations 13. You see the first one coming out of the sea with 7 heads. That's ancient Rome. Okay, one of those 7 heads, each of those 7 heads represents the kingdoms of the earth. Okay, that have ruled from ancient Egypt all the way to America. That one of those heads is wounded, and that's when ancient Rome fell. All right, now the second beast that comes out the earth, in Revelation 13, it says healed the first beast. So America came up in Rome's stead and has healed Rome. So now the Roman Empire continues on through America. All right. So when you see that, it says whose deadly wound was healed. America has healed the ancient Roman Empire. So the beast location has shifted. Kingdoms. Rome is not a kingdom. It's not an empire. It failed. The Catholic Church is not an empire. It's a spiritual organization. All right. So that's the first thing you have to understand, is that this beast is a kingdom. It's an empire. What empire or kingdom is ruling the earth today? America. The same judicial system and Senate that Rome had of ancient time, it's in America. The same worships that ancient Rome had, all the holidays and pagan days and festivals, is in America. The same army that ancient Rome had, which is even 100 to a million times greater, is in America. All right. So Rome isn't doing anything but pumping out the spiritual side of it all. So, that's just a kind of an overview of it all. But yeah, Daniel 7, Daniel chapter 2, other parts of Daniel like Daniel 5, and then you can go into Revelation 13, and then from there you can go into Revelation 17. And we actually did a lesson on this blog talk probably maybe, I don't know, end of September maybe, or somewhere around September on the if you go through the archives and you look around, September, October, you'll see the picture of the statue that Daniel saw in his vision, with the statue with the head of gold and the body of silver, all the different metals, the bronze and then the silver. You'll see that statue in the picture column, and then you'll know that that's that lesson. We break it all the way down, so that should give you some understanding. And we also teach it in the academy. So if you haven't been part of the academy, you can get that lesson in the academy.
Yeah, I'm signed up for this one. It's starting the 18th of this month, actually.
All right. Well, then you'll get that, and you'll get the PDF. You'll get the video lesson and the PDF, which completely breaks it down. So you'll have all of that to deal with.
Okay. Cool, man. I appreciate the lesson, man. It's just been an amazing show, man.
Well, we appreciate your support, and again, all praises to to a higher, and thanks for tuning in.
All right, thank you. Shalom.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, and just press 1 to exit the calling queue for us. The next caller we have 617-5272. You're on the air. Caller from the 617 area code, 5272. You're on the air. If you can hear me, you may have your phone on mute. We cannot hear you. Okay. I'm going to go to the next caller. If you can hear me, press number 1 and press it again to come back in the queue, and we'll come back to you. Caller from the 347 area code 6206. You're on the air.
Shabbat Shalom, your brother.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
I was just calling back, I found my other questions. And first of all, I wanted to say that your review over the number cult and everything was, and Qatar and everything, and the Oscar was just, it was amazing, like, to just how everything just came together, and like everything we strive for, here in America just seems like, a big, facade and a blueprint and everything, and that was kind of like just, just like on the blackboard, just jotting down the equation when you put that together as far as, the elite standpoint on things. Well, my question was, like, for a beginner, for somebody, who just, discovered the Most High and everything, and, you have the 10 Commandments. Well, what are some other key commandments, besides keeping Sabbath, that go hand in hand, with the original 10 Commandments that, one must follow,
Well, you have, of course, you got the 10 Commandments, and from there you have the dietary law, which are commandments to know, what to eat, what not to eat, and you kind of build on those from there. Those are kind of the main ones, and to put down the pagan holidays of this world, and learn the Most High's feast days, to keep the feast days, which is Leviticus 23. And Isaiah chapter 34, I believe it's verse 17, says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read." So that's a commandment. So if you're seeking out of the book of the Most High and reading it, then you're going to get the other commandments. All the other things the Most High commands us to do. Right now, one of the biggest commandments is come out of her, my people. That's spiritual, mentally, and physically. So, it's commandments all throughout the Bible, and a lot of people think the commandments are just contained within the Torah, and it's all throughout the scriptures.
Okay.
So,
my second question is, in New York, I know they have a gathering of Christ Church. I wanted to know where it was located at, if possible.
Yeah, let me get that for you here real quick. I'll give you. You can actually go on YouTube and even contact them through the YouTube channel. And just while I'm looking this up, it says 40 U.S. tornado, 45 dead as apparent tornado damages Alabama home. So more people dead in Alabama. 4 plus 5 is 9. Let's see. I'm trying to pull it up here, and the name of the church, or the name of the YouTube channel, is GOC Church NYC.
Okay.
That's the name of the church channel on YouTube, and let's see here. Let me get the contact information. It is, you can call 888 334 3330. as a contact number for them. You also have the address here, which is 114 West 133rd Street.
Okay.
And the service is from 2 to 6.
Okay.
And that should get you set up for them.
All right. Thank you very much, my brother.
All right. Well, we appreciate your support and tuning in and keep up the faith.
Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And you can press the number 1 to exit the queue for me. We got the next caller here, 773. 0955. You're on the air.
Yeah, hey, Shalom. Can you hear me?
Yes, Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, I'll just keep this quick. When you was mentioning the stars in Hollywood with the Academy Awards and everything, you know, they always had the red carpet show, you know, showing how to dress, showing the jewelry and everything. So when I was watching it, you know, they showed one of the stars. She had this $10,000 makeup, but it was with crushed diamonds and crushed rubies. And it made her, you know, it gave her this glamorous glow and everything, and everybody was raving over it. But immediately I just thought of, like, I think it's Ezekiel, the 28th chapter, it talks about Satan's cover, how it was all precious stones.
Right, that's deep.
Yeah, so you got all these stars, and then it was showing, I think it was Rihanna, Jennifer Hudson, all these stars with these manicures with straight gold. You know, like such and such carat gold. I forgot what the carat was, but, you know, they just focus on what they're wearing. And mind you, it's usually homosexual men with women that's doing the commentation and everything. And it's just crazy. You know, it's just something that popped in my head when you mentioned how the stars in Hollywood was line for the Academy Awards.
Right, that's crazy, man. And you're right. I mean, that's just a complete circus and spectacle of glorifying man and idolatry on all different types of levels to seek that gold idol of Ptah.
Yeah, and it was amazing how that what was it, how her face looked. It had a glow that you never seen before. You know, makeup does one thing, but this glow she had, and you know, Satan or Lucifer, when he was named, he was the morning star, and you could see him in the heavens even when the sun was coming up. So it was crazy. She had that glow, and it was crazy.
Right. Yeah, that right there, it definitely rings a bell, and is right on point from what I can gather as far as those precious stones and whatnot. And you know, when you watch those things and you're watching them on TV, it's like now you kind of know what to look for. You may not catch everything. You may, you know, see things and be like, wow, and you see this and you see that, and you know exactly what it means. So, but yeah, and the people are just distracted by this. They look at it as just entertainment. You know, they you know, in awe and everything about these stars, and then they want to be like them, and everybody wants to be famous and seek after that, you know, that limelight and all of that. It's just it's the image of the beast, and you know, Americans are worshiping it. So
yeah, and I know your other callers. I'll keep this real quick. Something else that came to mind when you was teaching on the numerology. You know, I'm from Chicago, so one of the main things we're known for is gangbanging. So you got two main factions: it's the peoples and the folks. You know, you got the 5-pointed star, and you got the 6-pointed star, right? But that pretty much holds all across the nation. You're either under the 5-pointed star or the 6-pointed star. But what I was thinking about was back, you know, in the early 90s when they had the Bloods and Crips come together. So you had the 5-pointed star and the 6-pointed star come together and make that 11, which you were just mentioning with the numerology. And I can't remember what year it was, but I may be wrong, I need to research this, but I think it might have been in 93 when they called for the Bloods and Crips to come together.
93, and you're saying that the one gang represents the 5 and the other represents the 6-pointed star?
Yep. You're either under the 5-pointed star or the 6-pointed star.
And that's funny that you say that because, again, 93 is the anagram for 39, and which we brought out earlier about Flight 93. It was actually United, not Delta, but United Flight 93 was the one that crashed, that was shot down. So that's interesting that happened in 93. It was called I thought it was called the Truce of Nine Deuce, but you're saying it happened in 93.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was 93. It could have been 92, but
something happened in 93. I remember you saying that. I also remember the Truce of Nine Deuce, but they probably did something in 93 too.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna hold you on. I know you got other callers, so
All right, well, thanks for calling.
Yeah,
thanks for calling in and the support, and have a blessed Sabbath.
Yeah, shalom.
Shalom. All right, next caller we have up here, we have Kevin. You're on the line.
All right. I really kind of run short on time because things keep happening, so I'm just going to get the important parts. You hit the numbers, the information you get from the numbers show us that something's going to happen on the 8th, whether it be troops on the ground or, just them shutting down the internet, which I don't think it's going to stop at that. Because you look at the score and it was 21-17. You said you can't separate the 11. So you got the 1 and 1 in the middle. What's 2 and 9? 2 and 7 is 9. And then March 3rd is what it all adds up to. March 8th is what it all adds up to. But I may be wrong, but I really think we're all waiting for a specific date to leave. Really think we should, so a lot of us got one piece of the puzzle or one piece of the exit and not another piece. Like some got money for gas or a ticket, but ain't got no vehicle. Some got a vehicle, but ain't got no money for gas. Some got world passports, some got American passports. If some do go down, we all need to be really kind of looking at, what Christ told us. That, he who seeks to save his life will lose it. But if we looking to help the brother next to us, he got a piece, he need to get his family out. I do what I can to help him get out. The brother next to us will help us do the same. So we all need to really kind of start looking at this and come together in case something does go down.
Right.
Because we're not going. Go
right,
ahead.
you're right. In March 8th, we definitely gotta mark that as a date to be extra watchful for, because like I said, when you talk about the internet, that's pretty much, I know for a lot of us, we don't have TVs. Everything we do is through the internet, our communication, our information, news, things like that. So that would definitely impact us greatly. So we have to look at planning when there's no internet. What do we do? How do we communicate? What is our plan? So definitely a lot of people gather on the Sabbath. It's a great time to go over these type of details, what to do, have some type of plan, talk about these things. Every day should be a day that you should be ready if something were to happen, with other dates being key dates to definitely keep more of an eye on. And when you say March the 8th, you have 3 and you have 8. When you add it up, equals 11.
Right.
So
you see something there because it's
yes.
repeating the same cycle.
Right. And when you talk about the internet and what they've been trying to do with the internet, hey, if it hopefully it's just another test like what happened with the EAS, where you had a couple people lose their TV service, or nothing really.
No, they're flat out saying that the FBI is installing their kill switch that day. They're not even trying to hide that. That's what's going on that day. It'll come back up. It'll just be down for either a few hours or a few days.
Right.
It's
So
it's just
we
the
know
lack of news that we'll get that day.
All right. So we know that they're putting the actual option there. If it doesn't go down, if it doesn't continuously stay down during that time, that they will at least have the ability to do it when they're ready.
Right. Which means that they're setting up for something. Now, whether it be if there's this is the thing. Everybody's talking about a false flag coming here soon, and then they're shutting down the internet to install the kill switch. While the internet's down and they're installing that kill switch, say the Enterprise gets destroyed or sank over in the Persian Gulf. Everything else is being blamed on Iran, blatantly, although it's not Iran. Who's to say that they won't blame this on Iran, and that'd be the pretext to put troops on the ground, and we got no internet or independent media to find out that that's not right. and most of the country will readily accept troops on the ground for our protection. And then that just rolls out them picking up people on the red, blue, and yellow list. You know, people street preaching and whatnot.
Right, because at that point you really have no outside source other than what they show you on the TV as what's going on, and we already know who's controlling the TV and what's up with that. So
exactly.
You know,
FEMA just got control of the news stations with 24-hour coverage, and on the same day they set that up, they activated, not stocked for the 72 hours, but activated the camps that are now fully staffed. So, I mean, they're setting up for something.
Right. They getting all the chess pieces in place. If it doesn't be a big event for that date, just know that if that's what they put in place, that they will have the ability to do it going forward.
Exactly. And I mean, truthfully, that being said, we're all fixing to get together for these feasts and for the Sabbath. I mean, we got one Sabbath and a 2-day feast prior to this. We need to be looking at as a body. We need to be looking at in case something happens, because when it happens, you see all the pieces are in place, so it's going to be all at once. We need to have an escape plan or a contingency plan, because a whole bunch of brothers and sisters with their heads covered, brothers with beards and locks, showing up at the airport to leave the country at once, all over the nation, that's going to throw some flags real quick.
Right.
So we need to be, looking at something.
That is true. It really doesn't have to be all of that. It just be a lot of us showing up at the airport, leaving, and not just leaving, making international flights.
Exactly.
It'd be different if you're just getting on a plane and going to another state within the country, but you're talking about going overseas, and you got to, all of a sudden it's an influx of the Negro population doing this. Then and mind you, with all of this going on, of course, they'll definitely have troops at the airport, so they'll already have their briefing on who to look for. You got the underwear bomber that just got convicted, so hey, what you got in your underwear?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if they're not right on top of it, there's enough of us that understand if you get too many of us together, somebody's going to have a record somewhere. And if not, they're just going to detain us till they figure it out.
Right. Yeah, so we had to just be on high alert. And as Christ said, be watching and praying. And like you said, make these plans out and be in communication and not be asleep to what's going on, and having, plan A through plan Z. If something were to happen, what do you need to do? And then from there, it's just keeping tight, focus with the Holy Spirit and letting her guide you.
Exactly. But yeah, that's because the time's short. That's all I really had. I was going to give you those two. I sent you the two articles on the gun, the gun that stops you from speaking, and then
they also got the heart attack gun.
Well, there's that one too.
Yeah.
But the one that stops you from speaking, and then the HARP system that can put thoughts in your head and actually control your